French police clearing people away from the famous shopping boulevard, the Champs-Élysées. Not much confirmed yet. Fox Radio's Simon Owen is live in Paris.
Lisa, 3 days before they begin electing a new president here, a police officer shot dead on the most famous street in Paris, the Champs-Élysées, where the Tour de France cycle race finishes each year. It's an iconic avenue. Right now, it's the scene of a major security operation after one officer was shot dead and another was injured. Police saying the attacker was also killed. No word on a motive. Details are still emerging. It's 10 p.m. here. It seems this happened in the middle of the evening. Lisa?
Thanks, Simon. Meantime, President Trump just beginning a joint news conference at the White House with the Italian Prime Minister. The U.S. Attorney General and Homeland Security Chief just speaking in Texas as part of a border visit. Fox Radio's Jessica Rosenthal with this live.
Lisa, Attorney General Jeff Sessions and Homeland Security Secretary Ray Kelly toured border operations near El Paso. Sessions says he's charged each U.S. Attorney's office to make criminal immigration enforcement a priority. And as of this week, each office has a border security coordinator. There's also a plan to bring a lot more immigration judges on this year. He had a message for would-be border crossers.
Please don't come. When you are caught, you will be detained, adjudicated, and deported.
Tomorrow, the two men head to San Diego to see more of the border, including immigration detention facilities, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. Big rally on Wall Street. The Dow up 174 points. The closing bell to 20,579. Talk of a new plan to replace Obamacare, helping to spark a rally, though nothing's finalized yet. And then reassurance from the U.S. Treasury chief about tax reform. He's vowing to get it done with or without health care reform. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Ready for a new tractor? At LS Tractor, we'll be the first to tell you to shop and compare. That's right, shop our competition. We're that confident that the LS Tractor combination of more standard features, better performance, competitive price, and proven commitment to customer satisfaction deliver value that's unequaled by another tractor. Period. Want more tractor for your money? Look around. You'll see there's one that gives it to you. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Over 3 million businesses use Indeed.com for hiring. And independent research shows that 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. By creating the easiest, most effective hiring experience, we help businesses find great new people every day. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
A missing teenage girl from Tennessee and her former teacher accused of kidnapping are found thousands of miles away.
It's been longer than a month that authorities in Tennessee posted an Amber Alert for teenager Elizabeth Thomas, who police said would be in the company of 50-year-old former school teacher Tad Cummins, and that the two had previously have been known to have romantic attachment. But the pair has been found in Northern California after cops there were tipped off that Cummins' car was spotted near the Shasta Trinity National Forest, 3 hours from Redding. Cummins is now under arrest, and the teen girl is recovered and said to be safe. Eben Brown, Fox News.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation holds a news conference at this hour. At least 7 people arrested near the U.S. Capitol for trying to give away marijuana, part of a push for Congress to extend a measure that blocks federal funding for interfering with state laws allowing medical marijuana. It expires next week. A legal victory in California for a U.S. veteran accused of displaying the Stars and Stripes without permission.
Army veteran Bob Rosebrock has been acquitted on charges of illegally placing an American flag on a fence near the entrance of a Veterans Affairs facility in Los Angeles, something the 75-year-old says he's been doing for years.
In honor of all the veterans who have served our country over the last 240 years, and also in honor of the veterans who are inside that VA trying to heal from defending the American flag.
His lawyer telling Fox News,
the government just really couldn't make its case. They couldn't even prove that he posted the flag on the fence.
Rosebrock, who could have faced months in prison if convicted, says he won't hesitate to hang another flag. Pam Puso, Fox News.
Recapping the latest in Paris, 1 police officer dead, another wounded, and the apparent attacker also dead along the famous Champs-Élysées. Elise Brady, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 46. Friday, chilly, mostly cloudy, high 58, a low of 42. Saturday, chance of rain, high 57, a low of 39. But it warms up for the next week. Right now, sun's trying to poke out of the clouds, 80 degrees in Champaign-Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lon Tay. It feels like it's been a while, actually, with Jeremy Warner on a very big and hopefully a day that we'll look back on and say, that was it. That was the moment.
There are some good vibes flowing around the Tay and J Show studios. I'm in my cargo shorts. Carp just has normal shorts.
Normal shorts.
Not a cargo guy, but that's
which
okay.
Which tweet called out cargo shorts?
Georgetown. The Georgetown Hoyas. And we think it's fake news. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I got the cargo shorts on, feeling good. It's a sunny day out. We were jamming to some Matchbox 20 before the show.
How can that not put you in a good mood?
I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the dad thing going. I'm listening to Matchbox 20. I got my cargo shorts on. I got my Birkenstocks on.
There you go.
I got this down. But there are some good vibes going into today, Carp, with Illinois hosting Mark Smith, the 4-star guard out of Edwardsville, the Illinois Mr. Basketball. You got him on campus. Here's your big shot, Brad Underwood.
He has had multiple times to say, thanks, Illinois, you're my home state school. But with everything going on, everything in flux, with the new coach, with recruits deciding to go elsewhere, he could have said thanks but no thanks a long time ago. The fact that you are in this position right now, getting potentially the last visit, we'll see if Ohio State or maybe Kentucky, right, is on the horizon. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they're in this position this late in the game, you have to feel good about it. And it's hard not to be nervous knowing that the benefits of getting him this early on in Brad Underwood's tenure would be astronomical. I mean, I don't want to overstate the importance of getting Mark Smith on campus and having him be the guy that we look back on as, you know, this guy was ignited the next era of Illinois basketball.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big one because he is the kid that can get you some momentum going. And more importantly, I don't want to make this kid out to be the savior, right? I don't want to put that kind of pressure on him. But he's a very, very good player. And if you land him over Michigan State, over Kentucky, who was interested, though they weren't going as hard at this as Michigan State and Illinois, obviously. Even if you get him over Ohio State, and hey, Duke showed a little bit of interest towards this thing, though not a lot, but they've shown some interest. If you're able to get a kid like that to kickstart the Brad Underwood era, that does create some buzz in this state. And maybe tell some other prospects, okay, maybe I should do that, because who is the last prospect in this state that was this hotly contested that was like, yes, I want to do that? It was Jeremiah Tillman until he decided not to. But really, I mean, you got to go back to, of this kind of player, Jeremy Richmond. And Jeremy wasn't that hotly contested because he committed as a freshman. Myers Leonard, committed early, and then North Carolina kind of came in. But it's been a long time since you've had that kind of prospect do that. And this is the kind of kid who can make an immediate impact, not only as a scorer on the court, but kind of in your culture. This is kind of the kid who's a winner, right? It's kind of a self-made player. And I think that'd be really good to get that kind of player along with Trent Frazier, along with DeMonte Williams to kick off the Brad Underwood era.
Yeah, the way in which he burst on the scene, you would love for that to be the case for Illinois basketball next year under Underwood, under what I think would be fairly meager expectations. Even if you get a Mark Smith, you aren't going to be at the top of Athlon's Big Ten preview next year, or maybe even the top half of the Big Ten. I think it's a very interesting roster next year with Mark Smith. I think you struggle, I don't want to say mightily, but it would not surprise me if they were bottom 5 Big Ten potentially without a guy like Mark Smith. So both short-term and long-term, there are so many benefits to getting him, because if you don't get him, then the question becomes, well, who are you going to get for this year's roster coming up? So it's kind of parallel tracks here. On one hand, you are basically handing him the keys to next year's team. Yeah, you got Tijon coming back, Jalen Coleman-Lands, LaRon, Finke. You have some pieces that you feel pretty good about. But at the same time, those guys would be fantastic complementary pieces. It's rare that you would go to a senior who burst on the scene like this and actually say, you know what, you're kind of the figurehead for Illinois basketball. And does a kid want to take that on? Not many, and I don't blame kids for not wanting to have to be the guy, or as you said, savior. But maybe Mark Smith is that unique case.
Yeah, when Marcus Levette kind of came onto the scene, Cart, it felt too good to be true. Like the basketball stork just came in and dropped this unbelievable player, point
Charlie
guard.
Moore to a degree as well.
But Marcus Levette just dropped this kid from California when you needed a point guard so terribly. After you missed on Brunson, you missed on Evans. Like, what the heck are they going to do at point guard?
Yeah.
And Levette just drops in here, and he really likes you. It felt too good to be true, and it was.
Sure.
This Mark Smith thing's had the same kind of feel, hasn't it? It's like all of a sudden you have this great class, but Jordan Goodwin commits elsewhere. But then this kid comes up, had visited NIU, Wright State, right, SIU Edwardsville in the fall, and then he takes on Jordan Goodwin, beats him twice head-to-head, and outplays him, and he turns into the Mr. Basketball, and you have all this momentum in recruiting with Tillman, Trent Frazier, DeMonte Williams, Javon Pickett, and you're like, that could be the final piece of what is a game-changing class.
Yes.
And then Gross can't win on the court.
Well,
and if you're like, it's all screwed up, right?
Well, but you see, the thing was, even when Gross wasn't here, and me and Steve were saying this on the Monday show, that I thought, you know what, I don't care who the coach is, this recruiting class stays intact. And I was echoing that throughout the year, and I felt fairly confident that if you get a good coach in, a good replacement, that these kids, ultimately, I mean, they still are young, they would have already, kind of gotten used to the idea of playing at Illinois, playing with this set of guys, these teammates, maybe guys that they befriended over the course of a year, 18 months or whatever, and that a good coach is not going to be ultimately what changes the tide in those recruitments. I was wrong. I didn't anticipate that would happen with Tillman, despite contrary, evidence to the contrary. That
it makes you wonder if it would have happened anyway.
I think it would have happened no matter what. So that would make this all the more impressive, that you have taken, at least PR-wise, perception-wise, 2 hits with losing Tillman and Pickett. Now, does the Pickett thing hurt you ultimately that much, short or long-term? I don't think so. But at the time, it was just salt in the wound. You had already lost Tillman. Here goes Pickett. Yeah. And this idea that you would have a 5-man class with basically a guy at every position, you can trot that lineup out if you'd really want to, and then it's gone. So to get Mark Smith after all that would be kudos to the staff for being resilient, persistent with him, even as Tom Izzo comes in. And I look at that situation and think, dude, Michigan State makes so much sense for Mark Smith.
It took 4 years for John Gross to really win a huge recruiting battle, right? I mean, Kendrick Nunn was a great first step, right? And I think, kind of compares to Mark Smith, but you didn't have Michigan State going all out for him. You didn't have Kentucky involved or Ohio State ridiculously going after Kendrick Nunn. You had Marquette. And that's not to the same level. Malcolm Hill was a good get. Jalen Coleman-Land's very good get, but his options were kind of dwindling at the time. Oran Black, you flipped from Baylor, right? So, and then he landed Jeremiah Tillman. It's like, finally, it feels like he's starting to do this. If Brad Underwood's able to get a kid like Mark Smith over these Blue Bloods, that's a really good sign for recruiting, right? Not only in state, but that it's not like he had a huge head start here.
No.
Right? I mean, the head start was Jamal Walker's relationship with him, which was a pretty short relationship anyway. It's not like Illinois was all over Mark Smith until, December, January, it really started to heat up. And then Izzo comes with a full sprint. Calipari comes in with a full sprint. And if Underwood's able to beat these guys, I feel pretty good. But I can tell you a little bit that Illinois seems pretty, I don't want to say confident going in today, but optimistic about their chances. And Michigan State thinks that if he gets off campus without committing, they feel good about their chances. So today is a big day. They have to hit a home run. And it's an Illinois-Michigan State battle right now. I don't think he's got a visit scheduled to Ohio State. I don't think that is going to play a factor in his recruitment. I think that's just kind of a comparison visit. They got one more official. Kentucky's not going to happen. And then Duke, they send John Shire. They didn't send Mike Krzyzewski.
That's not going to do it.
Yeah, so they're not really involved in this thing unless they miss on Kevin Knox, and at least they've been honest with them that, hey, you're not our top priority right now. We're going after this 5-star that Mizzou's going after as well. So it's a Michigan State-Illinois battle, and I don't think either of them really know where Mark's going to go, but I think there's a huge opportunity for Illinois that if they, Mark's obviously got an emotional tie, and again, they are giving him Mark Smith and his family are giving Illinois another chance at this. That means they must have liked something they've heard from Underwood so far.
Yeah, and it seems like Illinois has been the default option the whole time. Like, again, all this upheaval, all the change, and the fact that they have still not eliminated Illinois. And at this point, I don't think it would be just a courtesy. If it was just a courtesy, you could have really accomplished that through February, March, met with Brad Underwood once, and thanks but no thanks. You would have moved on. To take this extra and final trip, and you hope, if you're an Illinois fan, that is the final trip that this family takes, that says a lot, I think. I'm optimistic, and I have no reason with recent history of Illinois recruiting losses to be optimistic, except for the fact that I think this is a unique case. I think he's a unique kid. And that the idea of selling him that you are the guy, you will be looked back on as the most key figure in changing this basketball program.
That's a lot for an 18-year-old kid to take on.
Daunting.
As much as some of us go, oh, I love that idea. Well, you're an Illini fan,
yeah.
Right? And you want that kid to buy into that. I think it's a unique sell that you can if the kid is really interested in being the guy, has that kind of personality. And I think he had that kind of at Edwardsville. It's kind of what Kendrick Green from Peoria had about Illinois. He brought that Peoria football program up to new heights. He wants to do that again with Illinois football. Maybe Mark Smith wants that with Edwardsville, where at Michigan State, he'd be part of this long history, recent history of great success, could be the next in line. Maybe he wants to start the line. And that would be rare. It's rare because it's not the easy decision. The easy decision is to go to Kentucky and be part of that machine, to go to Michigan State and be part of that great program. To try and rejuvenate a program as an 18-year-old, that takes a lot of stones, and it takes a lot of fortitude to do that.
I think for this fan base, too, and it probably is a tertiary consideration. The big thing is get Mark Smith for all the short-term and long-term benefits that it will have on the basketball court. But you hire Brad Underwood, and I think a resounding thumbs up from the fan base. Then this happens with Tillman and Pickett. And I don't think there was any anger from the fan base towards the coaching. I mean, listen, these things happen. Mm-hmm. So I think there's an understanding that, yeah, I get it. We're in this situation. Yeah, maybe this will take a year longer than we had hoped for. This accelerates the process. If we want to call it rebuilding or reimagining Illinois basketball, however you want to frame it, this would accelerate that. Without Mark Smith, you go into next year with not nearly as much excitement. And I know that sounds crazy to put on one kid.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, if you get Mark Smith, I don't know if that takes you from the 11th or 12th team in the Big Ten to the 7th or 6th, right?
No, I think
I don't think we should put that kind of expectation.
But I don't think, even without Mark Smith, because I said that it could be maybe a bottom 5, which I guess 11 or 12 would be somewhere around that, maybe 10th. But even so, we saw this year the margin for error, that team was still 2 wins away, or a win away potentially from making the tournament.
I think you could go from 10th to 8th and being on the bubble.
And that could be enough. And more than that, though, it would be you could go into next year, especially with Mark Smith as part of this freshman class, because you're going to see Trent Frazier. We'll see on DeMonte Williams where he could fit on the court, coming off that injury especially. But as a fan, even if the wins aren't piling up as much as I would like them to, but Mark Smith is part of this freshman class, you feel as if you're building towards something. Yeah. Not to say that you wouldn't be with Trent and DeMonte anyways, and whoever else they may pick up this year, but I am anxious to see that, though.
We're going to talk a lot about this today. We're going to talk with Scott Burgess, prephoops.com at 4:30. We're also going to get away from basketball a little bit at 5:25 with Illini football strength and conditioning coach Joey Bose.
Yeah, we also have the Mettler Center injury report coming up at 3:50. Kevin Durant missed that game last night for the Warriors. And, we're going to do a best case, worst case with the Illini roster based on the recruits that are available out there. Some of these fifth-year options, a guy like Cam Johnson from Pitt. Do they get him, or does he go with Jamie Dixon over at TCU? You can always call us at the Jupiters or the Crossing phone line or text us, the Cheap Hour text line, same number, 359-2255. That's 359-2255. Find us on Facebook or Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. You can download the WSJK app and get the podcast at espncu.com or on iTunes, powered by GTPS Insurance. We have Jack Long and Harry Black helping us out today in the call screen studio, and we'll be back after this break. It is the Tay and J Show.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
Jalen Rose, Booger McFarland, Lewis Riddick in our studio.
I would love to pick your brain on what you said about Mixon, and you mentioned him being the most talented of them all, but also you noted that he was somebody, because of those issues, that you wouldn't touch.
The scales can't always be sliding, based on, well, what can he bring to me from a talent level? Because at some point you have to stand for something, and something has to be a deal breaker for you at some point in time. And that kind of thing, domestic violence, having daughters, having sisters, those are the kinds of things when you think about that. And if it was your wife, your daughter, your sister, would you say, okay, I'll give this guy a second chance if you saw that happen to your wife, your daughter, your sister?
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
At Ferguson, service is our most important part. So if service is the part you're missing from your supply house, come into one of our 600 nationwide locations and let our team help yours. Whether it's tracking down those hard-to-find parts, having your order ready and waiting at our will call, or helping you manage your inventory with our SKU app and online ordering, the edge every trade professional needs is right around the corner. And with Ferguson Pro Plus, you'll earn redeemable points with every online purchase. Come into one of our locations or visit Ferguson.com today.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a Wix filter for $32.99 and get a $10 O'Reilly gift card after mail-in rebate. Protect your engine from sludge and wear with the Castrol and Wix Oil and Filter Special at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Eric Bolin with Provident Financial Group. Are you getting the attention you deserve from your broker? When you partner with Provident, you get an advisor who stays focused on you and your family. We work for you. Contact us today to schedule a consultation. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network.
Provident, partnerships built on trust.
FINRA, SIPC, the registered investment advisor.
Money Smart Week is back April 22nd through the 29th. It's an entire week of classes, workshops, training programs, and seminars to address money management at every stage of life. Some events include Investing 101 with Habitat for Humanity, 5 Seconds to Saving for Your Children's College Education, and Shred-a-Palooza, an event that gives you the ability to shred sensitive paperwork that will wrap up the week of Saturday, April 29th at the U of I Credit Union. Visit MoneySmartWeek.org for a list of events surrounding Money Smart Week, or search Money Smart Week Champaign County on Facebook.
Need new tires? How would you like to save $200 on a set of 4 select Goodyear tires? Right now at CarX Tire and Auto, get up to $200 in savings when you purchase a set of 4 Goodyear tires and use the CarX Drive Card credit card. Your Champaign CarX man has the right tires for your vehicle at any of his 3 convenient locations. And now up to $200 off. Stop in, call, or schedule online at CarX.com.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
See store for details.
It's here, the biggest flooring event of the year. Lumber Liquidators 14th Annual April Sale with 5 days of once-in-a-lifetime prices on top quality North American and European laminate from 49 cents. Pre-finished hardwood from just $1.19. Bamboo from $1.39. Get wood look waterproof floors from 59 cents. Limited time deals on small lots from 29 cents and more. Plus special financing. Don't miss it. New deals added daily. Get to the April sale at Lumber Liquidators today.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Warner Rap, go! Thank you, Ante. I'm Jeremy Warner, 323 with your Sports Center update brought to you by Prairie View Landscaping. Save it to 25% off your 2017 lawn care through the end of the month. Just email mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Big day for Illinois basketball as it hosts the Midwest top uncommitted guard and reigning Illinois Mr. Basketball, Edwardsville guard Mark Smith visiting the Illini today. Michigan State coach Tom Izzo visited in-home on Tuesday, and Duke assistant John Shire visited him on Wednesday. Smith also has a scheduled official visit to Ohio State this weekend. His decision is expected within the next week. The 25th ranked Illini softball team won its 8th straight game with an 8-2 victory yesterday against Butler. Nicole Evans hit her 15th home run of the season and 50th of her career, leaving her just one short of tying the career Illini record set by Angelina Mexicano. MLB Cardinals have placed third baseman Johnny Peralta on the DL with an upper respiratory illness. The left-handed pitcher Tyler Lyons has been activated. Carlos Martinez takes the hill tonight for the first of 4 in Milwaukee. Zach Davies on the hill for the Brewers. You can hear that here loud and clear on ESPN Radio 93.5. Both the Cubs and White Sox are off today. Win or season over tonight for the Blackhawks, who are down 3-0 to the Predators, entering tonight's Game 4 at Nashville. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. The Blues couldn't close out the Wild last night in a 2-0 Game 4 loss, but they still have 3 more chances to get one more win. Game 5 is Saturday afternoon. NBA tonight, the Cavs look to go up 3-0 on the Pacers. Raptors and Bucks will split a 1-1 tie, and the Spurs look to take a 3-0 lead on the Grizzlies. Golf, Tiger Woods announced today he's had his 4th back surgery in the last 40 months. He will be out at least 6 months. Hasn't won a major since 2008.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lon Tay on what we can just unofficially dub Mark Smith Day in Champaign-Urbana. We have a phone call on the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line. We'll get to that in a second. That's Nick and Matt Toon. But first, I want to read one of these texts, actually, from the text line, the Cheap Hour text line. From the 217, love your show and respect your opinions, but I really think you're selling out the team and Coach Underwood by saying we are a 10th place team next year.
Well, we're just throwing out a number. I mean, but they are a bottom half of the Big Ten roster. I mean, right now, think of it. I like Trent Frazier. I think Underwood can be a very good coach. Big Ten's going to be pretty dang good next year.
I think that you can
and you just lost 50% of your scoring.
Yeah, so here's how I would respond to that. If you gave Brad Underwood last year's roster, I have no doubt in my mind they would be a much better team.
Yes.
The problem is it is really hard to replace that production from Malcolm Hill and Maverick Morgan, even if they may not have been the best fits in Underwood's system. You saw this year that he's pretty malleable with things. He will adjust according to his talent. So my concern with this team, especially if you don't get a Mark Smith, just simply from the production standpoint, yeah, I know your offense is going to be at times pretty fun to watch, but you don't have as many horses as you'd like to. So that's why today is so big in so many ways. And I'm an impatient guy. I would love for Illinois to come out next year and be the surprise team in the Big Ten. And I think they could be a mild surprise with a Mark Smith. It's hard for me to imagine that road if they don't get Mark Smith.
Yeah, next year, think of your roster. You lost 50% of your scoring. You lost 27 shots per game. And I like Tejon Lucas. I don't think he's going to elevate his game to be a top 3 or 4 point guard in the Big Ten.
No, and I think his scoring may go up a few points a game, and I think he'll be better.
I think these guys will individually get better, but you lost key pieces to that team, and I don't know that Aaron Jordan or DJ Williams is going to take a big leap, and you have no post players.
No.
Right? Michael Finke is likely your 5, which is okay on offense, right? On defense, that's not good. Or on Black, on defense, that's not good. So even though those guys offensively I like, you need more players, and that's why you have 4 open scholarships right now that could grow. It sounds like Jordan and Williams might stay, which, I think DJ Williams could be interesting in this kind of scheme, but you just don't have the players that the rest of the Big Ten has right now.
You don't have a center.
You don't have a rebounder, rim protector, guy who can make things happen at the rim. Who can score at the rim? Kipper Nichols?
Here's my wild card to that. We actually find a way to get LeBron Black really good around the rim.
Oh, I think
there's no reason he shouldn't be.
I said it when Underwood got here. I think he could be a double-double guy. I really do. I think he can be that kind of player.
I think you're going to see there's going to be weird matchups all year long because I can't see them, even if they got a 5th-year grad transfer at center. What are you going to ask him for? 35 minutes a game? You can't do that. So there's going to be good chunks of time that Finke's playing the 5 or Black's playing the 5. And then just sort of, impose your own will. There are going to be matchups where it's just going to be very difficult for Illinois to get anything going down low. At the same time, you hope that on those given nights, you're just shooting so lights out that you're staying in those games.
Yeah.
Head of the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line, it is Nick in Mattoon. Thanks for holding, Nick.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Hey, touching on your point about Williams and Jordan, I don't know, but Underwood, he's a motivator and kind of reminds me of Frank Martin at South Carolina. I know they work together, but if anybody can light a fire under DJ Williams, you'd think it'd have to be Underwood. and I see a lot of potential there that he just has never met. I mean, I know coming out of high school, he didn't really have the senior season he wanted, but man, that kid is talented, and if he can't find a role in Underwood's system, I don't really know. Is he looking at staying, him and Jordan? Because they haven't really shown us anything too far.
Nick, appreciate the call. I mean, those are the two names we keep coming back to as far as if anyone transferred out, you'd think it'd be one or both of them.
Yeah, and I said last year, those guys are huge. I mean, what can they produce? And they didn't, right? I mean, they got worse from their freshman years. So I think it's important that, they have a huge opportunity here. I mean, Aaron Jordan, you want a system that gets you open shots. Let's see if you can shoot at this level, right? I mean, the one thing I like about Jordan, you know what you expect out of him. It was kind of like Mav Morgan as a sophomore. You didn't love exactly what he did, but at least you knew what he did and that he was, giving you what he could give you.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he got some confidence. That's what Aaron Jordan needs at some point, is some confidence. He needs to make a couple shots and get that confidence. DJ Williams, we see these flashes and they're tantalizing. But that's what we saw all through high school, and he just never put it together. If you can't get motivated for a new staff where you have a huge opportunity, I mean, because you got Kipper, Laron, and Ficky. That's your front court, right?
I mean, DJ would be a part of that.
Wide open.
He'd have to
and
be.
You know how you're going to get on the court? Offensive rebound and defense. It's been the same thing for 2 years. Don't worry about getting your points because you'll find points.
Because
that's what Kipper did.
Well,
Kipper got on the court and he goes, I'm going to play defense, have energy, grab some boards, and if there's an open three, somebody passes me one, I'll take it and I'll make some of them.
It felt like Kipper shot 45% from three this year.
I think he did.
Did he really?
But and even if he didn't, he's taking open shots. He's not forcing anything.
And there were some moments.
He just knew his role.
Right. There were moments with DJ where it's like, okay, I like your aggressiveness, but you were not the number 1, 2, or 3 option out there for offense. But that's just it. Is that next year your scores would be, and let's go with the non-Mark Smith roster to be a skeptic here, or a cynic. You have Jalen Coleman-Lands, who I think is going to take a huge step next year. I think Michael Finke, as far as offensive production goes, will take a big step as well. Trent Frazier, freshman, how much are you relying on him? LaRon Black, you hope he can slot in for 12 points a game. I mean, I think ultimately, even with the loss of Malcolm and Maverick, we are not going to be watching next year's team go through 5.5-minute stretches where they can't score the basketball. But defensively, that's an issue, and that's where DJ Williams, you slot him in there. And even on this depleted roster where you don't have as many offensive weapons, if you can somehow get his mindset to change to, this is your job first and foremost, and then the points will come, because that's what it felt like with Kipper. There was not many moments where I saw Kipper. There were a couple threes here or there where maybe, okay, it was a heat check and it didn't work out, but it felt more in the course of the offense. It felt like more of a natural thing to do on a basketball court, as opposed to DJ, who would get the ball, it'd be a baseline 18-footer or something, and you're thinking, that's not a good shot. That's not a good shot for a good shooter.
Right.
So
you just don't want him to know what you are. Right? I mean, not every guy on the team is going to be a go-to guy. But Mark Smith will be, right? I mean, Trent Frazier could be. And he's going to be a big part of it, just like Jalen Coleman-Lands is. But that's what Mark Smith would give you, is a go-to guy. I think DJ Williams has to realize he's not. I mean, he really wasn't on his high school team.
Right.
Ed Morrow was, right? So he's not that go-to guy. So figure out your role. That's not a terrible thing. And Kipper figured that out really quickly. He had that thought that, okay, right now, this is my role. Maybe that can grow into the future. But right now, this is what's going to get me on the court. And DJ hasn't gotten that. I think Aaron knows that. And that's what I like. He knows what he is at this level. DJ Williams hasn't quite figured that out yet.
No. We have a list of potential additions to next year's
roster.
roster.
We did the excitement meter with Lante, and we did the game show music with this card.
Okay.
So we did the excitement meter with possible additions for Illinois, and I figured we should go through it with you as well.
Okay. Where are we starting?
All right, excitement meter. 1 to 10. 10, you're jumping through the roof. 1, meh.
Okay.
Carlton Bragg, where would he register on your excitement meter?
A 6. Untapped potential. Talented guy, off-the-court issues, which, by the way, what were the off-the-court issues? I feel I'm not educated on that.
Well, he got arrested, charged with assault, but that was dropped, and the assault charge was put on the person who alleged the assault of him.
I see.
So he was defending himself.
Okay.
So that you got to let go. The other one was drug paraphernalia charge. So is that the worst thing? No, but these are red flags. These are red flags that... he didn't get on the court much at Kansas in 2 years. So it seemed like they didn't like the work he was putting in or didn't trust him enough, and they were quick to suspend him too with all that stuff. So I just think there's red flags, and I'm not saying don't go after him at all, but you better be sure, because we've seen, Carp, where culture became an issue with some of those transfers that John Gross brought in.
I think, especially knowing that he'd sit out a year, he's not going to help you immediately. We have time to figure out something in the post where you don't need a Carlton Bragg. At the same time, if that's something the coaching staff feels comfortable with, I'm fine with it too. But I have it at a 6 for those red flags you mentioned.
All right, let's go on to the next one. Taylor Bruninga out of Illini Bluffs, rising senior, had a heck of a senior year, 33 points, 12 rebounds at the Class A level, 6'8", skilled forward, bit of a project. He's got his top 5 basically, or top schools, Illinois State, Northern Iowa, IPFW.
I'd say a 3.
That's about right.
Yeah.
I think there's an upside to him that in 3 years, I think he could be a very interesting player, kind of think he's understudy, and maybe that can be a very good player in this system as a role player. But I'm not sold that he's definitely a high major player.
No. Again, and I'll say this with all of these, if I will defer to the coaching staff if they think that this player or that player would fit in our system, especially in the case of Bruninga. Is that how you say it? But I'm going to put it at a 3 because of that unproven commodity that he is, and the fact that maybe the talent level that he played in high school. You don't want to say
hate it as the 13th guy.
No, I wouldn't either. At the same time,
developmental guy.
I'm antsy. I want to build this thing quickly. I don't want to give up too many.
For hire.
Yeah, I don't want to give up too many scholarships to projects.
A guy that's probably going to redshirt at Illinois State if he goes to Illinois State, right? All right, Charlie Moore, excitement meter 1 to 10 for Mike Carpenter.
8, solid 8. You know, is it kind of exhausting?
You and me are seeing eye to eye on this excitement meter.
I mean, yes, it's an 8 and not a 10 because there's a little bit of exhaustion factor with any Mac Irvin Fire related recruitment where you think, well, this is easy. It should be easy. And then you find out Illinois and Kansas are in the mix, despite Kansas being a 10-hour drive away from Chicago, which kind of nullifies the initial letter that said, I am leaving Cal because. But I understand. I wouldn't blame anyone for wanting to go play for Kansas. I'm putting it at an 8. There's only one guy that I'd put higher than him.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one, which is not quite him. Cam Johnson, Pittsburgh transfer, graduate transfer, but has 2 years of eligibility left. Shot 41% from 3 last year.
And he would play right away.
11 points per game. You can play right away. Fills a big hole as small forward probably, or front court player for you.
You know what? Actually, I take back my last comment. There are 2 guys I would put higher than Charlie Moore.
Ooh.
I put Cam Johnson at a 9 because of need.
I can go 8. I can go equal with Charlie.
Okay.
But man, I think I'd be a little bit more upset about Charlie.
Because of need.
Because of immediacy.
Immediacy and
fits more of a role you need. I get it.
And if this were an Aaron Cosby case where you have to sit out a year and then you get the 2 years after that, I'd be thinking, well, okay, we're really backloading stuff until 2018, 2019 because he can play right away, because he's a tall, athletic guy that can also fill it up. Yeah, I'm putting that at a 9. Okay. Immediate impact, and I am antsy, and I would love somehow, some way to make the tournament next year.
All right, excitement meter for Mark Smith.
10.
Yeah.
10.5.
Was this the same for Jeremiah Tillman?
No. Jeremiah Tillman, from the outset, was an exhausting recruitment.
It was very exhausting.
And it was not so much jubilation when he finally committed. It was relief.
Yeah.
That's different.
I totally agree with you.
This would be something where it would not be maybe a
and then it was a relief again at signing day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, about 3 different times.
And then it was relief when you got the the retweets.
Retweet heard around the world.
Yeah.
But there was always an underlying current of, you never quite
Does he really want to be here?
Exactly. Mark Smith is an 11, a Spinal Tap 11. and
maybe he's listening right now, Carp, and that's what changes the entire thing.
What if he's a Spinal Tap fan? He's my favorite recruit already. Like, no questions asked. But I think, too...
No, because he heard the Michigan State radio show, and they did the excitement meter, and they said 8.5.
Did they really?
I'm just joking.
Oh, well, okay. What if they were actually keeping tabs on that? That would be, just keeping the finger on the pulse.
Well, that's what Illinois is selling, right? That you would be a legend here. You could make history here.
Back to the point of relief versus jubilation. This would be jubilation. This would be, whoa.
Because it combines with a new coach, too, right? It's a new era, new player. new face possibly of the team, along with Trent, who his Twitter is maybe the favorite thing of Illini fans right now, Trent Frazier.
He is selling the program as hard as he can, and I think Illinois fans appreciate that. But, yeah, with Mark Smith, you mentioned it in the first segment, too, that the way that he plays and how he came on the scene, the way that he did, indicates that this is not just talent we're talking about. There are intangible factors to the way that he plays the game, the way that
Ultimate
he prepares.
competitor, right?
Yes, and that is something that...
A winner.
No, it's not any slight on some of the good players.
There hasn't been a winning culture here.
No.
It's hard to build, and you need the right guys to have that. I thought Kendrick Nunn might bring that. That first year where he stood toe-to-toe with DJ Newbill, and you're thinking, dang, that's what we need. We need that confidence. We need that swagger. And then his next couple of years, it just kind of went away, and the program really didn't have it. And Malcolm was a great player, wasn't that kind of guy. Which is fine. I mean, you can't argue with anything Malcolm Hill did here. But Mark Smith has that feel of he can lift people around him to make them better and just that competitiveness.
To make a comparison, and I don't know if I should do this because I'm going to give Michigan State some props here, but watching them last year in certain games and seeing what Miles Bridges was able to do. Now, I'm not calling Mark Smith Miles Bridges because Bridges is a special talent. NBA ready. He would have been the lottery pick this year if he had elected to go. But you watch college basketball especially, and you see the difference that one guy can make, and one guy can make from the outset. And to see how prepared and ready Mark Smith appears to be for Power 5 basketball and Big Ten basketball, the fit, everything is just absolutely perfect. It's an 11, and if he commits, this will be, in my mind, the biggest commitment to Illinois since D. Brown.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it...
the ones I would compare would be what, Jeremy?
Yeah, but I think that...
Jeremiah.
I think what happens in the course of that player's career is that you kind of readjust, well, how big was that commitment? So certainly history is kind of making me biased here. Like the Jeremy Richmond thing at the time was a big deal, but it didn't have that same impact either, as you mentioned, because it was so early. You got him before there was any battle going on.
I'll do one more for you. Mikhail McIntosh, 6'7", 240, graduate transfer forward out of Illinois State, good rebounder, blocks some shots, can hit some threes. Hit about 35 threes this year, about one per game, at about 35%.
Can I let you assign a score for him?
I think he'd fill a nice role. Because if LaRon Black and Michael Finke are your fives, I think you need another four. And I think McIntosh and Kipper could play that role pretty well. You'd be a small team, but you need another good rebounder and at least a guy who can protect the rim. That's the biggest need. I mean, that is a huge hole on next year's team and maybe the year after. There's just no rim protectors, and that's Francesco Badacci. I didn't put him in here yet, but you can weigh in on that one too. I think he would help, but he's such a raw talent.
Is there mutual interest there between Illinois and McIntosh?
I haven't heard it. Yet. I don't know why they wouldn't call. Right? If just to get immediate help, he would have been a Missouri Valley Player of the Year candidate. So, I think he can play at the Big Ten. I know Minnesota's interested. They like to take Illinois State's players.
They do. They have a pipeline.
I bet Nebraska, Missouri, I heard might be interested in him. I think he'd be a nice player.
All right.
Yeah. So how about Francesco Badacci?
5.
I like how you did the Italian. A 5 for Francesco Badacci.
I'll give him a solid 5 because you mentioned the project element to it. I think that kind of softens the excitement, despite the human pogo stick video that's been making its rounds on the internet.
He's a role player, but boy, there's talent there that Illinois doesn't have on his roster.
And you know what?
I think I'd be a 6 for him because
I could see that.
You need, like I'm talking about, a rim protector, a defensive difference maker. I think Kipper can be that. I think Tijon, well, not the rim protector, but I think they can be defensive difference makers. Maybe Mark Smith can grow into that. It's not a strength of his game yet, but you see how big he is. He's pretty athletic. I think he could be good defensively. But Badacci, that's his role. Attack the glass on offense, attack it on defense, and block some shots. You need guys like that.
I want a big athletic team that flies around. You know what I mean? I want long, lanky athletes.
Well, even
that
if
can
you're
get
not
up and down
6'11", right?
Yeah,
like the flying Illini, whatever. Everyone always makes that comparison. In college basketball, I think at some point you need a huge dude, like to get you some rebounds. That's burly in the middle. Doesn't have to be 6 or 7 foot or whatever.
And we saw with Gonzaga that you can change that paradigm and have a really exceptional front court.
But you can also have an identity where you just have these athletic guys get up and down the court, and that's where DJ can find a role on this team if he buys into it.
So those are the guys. I saw one other name on here.
Brady Ernst.
Yeah, who is that?
He's a JUCO big man. Had some injury issues, had some academic issues, but he's about 6'10". He's athletic. He dunks, even though he's white. He's athletic and dunks.
Okay.
He was committed to Xavier, but they seemed to part ways. Xavier must not have liked something. I don't know there, but they split ways. So he's a 3-year guy.
Oh, he'd have to sit?
No.
He was JUCO for a year.
But he'd have 3 years.
Okay.
So, yeah. I don't know if I'd invest that much.
No.
I'd rather go wait a year for find another post
Because
player.
if it comes down to it, and
he's intriguing, though.
I begrudgingly say this because, again, I'm impatient. But if you need to just wait a year, listen, the coaching staff and the players on the team, they aren't going to treat it that way. They're going to play to try to make the NCAA tournament this year, whoever's on that team. But I think as a fan, it's okay to come into this year and say, this is the rebuilding year, if certain things don't shake out your way. So I would not try to put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound by going after a 3-year JUCO transfer. That seems too much.
Dare to dream. What if Illinois signs 3 or 4 of these guys, top guys? That's Luke.
Well, the two immediately would be, because call it a weird hunch on Charlie Moore. I don't see it.
Well, especially if you get Smith, I don't see Moore signing up, because you'd have Frazier, Lucas, DeMonte, Mark Smith, and JCL. JCL for 2 more years. Only 1 year with Charlie Moore.
So if you get, let's say Mark Smith drop.
But if Charlie Moore wants to come here after Mark Smith, sign me up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a lot of guards.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Somebody will probably leave. It might not be the worst thing. You'd have so much firepower. This system, 3 guards. 3 guards on the court at all times. So all these guys can get a lot of playing time as long as they produce.
If you get Mark Smith, then my next choice would probably be Cam Johnson to fill a big role for the next 2 years.
Yeah, for me, it'd be Smith and Moore. Get one of those guys, then Cam Johnson, most likely.
Because even though I put Cam Johnson at a 9, trust me, I'm still taking Charlie Moore if he wants to come here. My 8 for Charlie Moore as opposed to a 9 for Cam Johnson was based on that sort of, I don't feel great about it, just because of everything that kind of happened in the first 2 recruitments that we tried to get Charlie Moore here. No offense to him, but it just seems that when you get involved with the Mac Irvin Fire specifically, expect the unexpected.
So who would be next? Would it be Carlton Bragg or Mikhail McIntosh?
I'd say Bragg. I'd still take a flyer on Bragg. I say a flyer. I mean, he's a talented kid.
I feel more comfortable with McIntosh because he plays right away, only 1 year, and I like his personality. But Bragg is the higher ceiling guy.
Okay, so and I think we're going to do this later. Best, worst case Illini roster.
Yeah.
If that were the case, and I'm just thinking 2017-18, the 3 guys I'm taking, if I could only take 3 guys, Mark Smith, Cam Johnson, and McIntosh.
Yeah.
And then you think, whoa, that's a pretty decent roster right there.
Yeah, and then maybe you save the spot for 2018.
Sure.
Try and get Io and Finke, and you got to get a big.
And
you got to get big at some point.
You still would not have a 5. But
you'd be, Cam and McIntosh would give you longer, more athleticism.
Yeah.
So, you wouldn't have a true 5, but you'd have at least a deeper front court, which you obviously need.
Plenty of Mark Smith talk throughout the day. At 4:30, we have Scott Burgess from PrepHoops.com coming up. We also have at 5:25, Joey Bose. Is that the new strength and conditioning coach for Illinois football?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But coming up, though, we had the Mettler Center injury report. Kevin Durant, a bad calf. That means only 4 games that he was able to come back and play after his MCL strain. Is this a problem? Is this going to linger?
Yeah, and you and I could talk about, does it matter for the Warriors?
It may not.
If you want to weigh in, 359-2255, that's 217-359-2255.
It may matter for the inevitable matchup against the Chicago Bulls in the NBA Finals. It is the Tay and J Show.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
Got this commitment.
Right now, there's no better time to take control of your skin. So if you haven't tried Proactive, then now's your chance. Because I'm hooking up our listeners that call now. Here's the deal. You can try Proactive risk-free for 60 days and it ships free. That's 2 full months to use America's #1 acne brand. And it comes with their clear skin guarantee. If you don't see clear skin, then you don't pay. That's right. Return the bottles even if empty. That's how confident Proactive is that you'll love your skin. Grab your phone and call 800-745-3950 now. It's the finely milled benzoyl peroxide that gets deep into pores to help stop acne-causing bacteria in its tracks and prevent new breakouts. So pick up the phone and dial 800-745-3950 to snag a risk-free trial of Proactive. Plus, they'll send you their ultimate trio of bestsellers like their amazing blackhead dissolving gel, free. Don't wait. This hookup comes with free shipping, but not for long. Call now, 800-745-3950. 800-745-3950. 800-745-3950.
Get ready for the first annual Mahomet Craft Beer Festival presented by JT Walker's Brewery. Head out to Mahomet on Saturday, April 29th for great food and the best beer brewed in Central Illinois. Admission is free, so come out and enjoy live music at JT Walker's and the new Project 47 Smokehouse. Enjoy craft brews from local favorites like Revolution, Half Acre, JT Walker's, and more. For more info, head to jtwalkersbrewery.com or text the word brews to 66937. That's brews to the number 66937.
Renew, energize, and donate. Join Keller Williams Realty of Champaign, the real estate center of Illinois, for their annual Red Day, Thursday, May 11th, the company's annual day of service dedicated to renewing, energizing, and donating to their local communities. As part of the Red Day effort, Keller Williams Associates will spend the day with See You at Home, building new sheds, painting, light remodeling, and landscaping at multiple locations offered by See You at Home. For more information about Red Day, visit kwchampagneredday.com. That's kwchampagneredday.com. Go to kwchampagneredday.com. You know you need to do it, and you know you should do it at least twice a year. You owe it to yourself. I'm talking about a checkup at West Main Dental in Urbana. When was the last time you visited the dentist? If you can't remember, or you're in need of a new dentistry team, West Main Dental is where you should go. Our team at West Main Dental is waiting to see you. Come in and be catered by a professional staff that includes Dr. Janet Bardell, a University of Illinois and Southern Illinois University graduate. West Main Dental offers the highest level of dental care in a warm and comforting environment. From a simple quick checkup to providing you with an at-home teeth whitening kit or orthodontic services, trust the professionals at West Main Dental. Visit West Main Dental in downtown Urbana on Main Street, online at westmaindental.com, or call 607-1292. Trust me, you won't be able to stop smiling with a set of healthy, sparkling white teeth thanks to the work of West Main Dental. West Main Dental, online at westmaindental.com, or call 607-1292 to schedule an appointment today.
Hey, it's me, your old AC. We need to talk, man. I am out of hair. Trust me. It's not going to get much better. I need to be replaced. Call the experts and get a new air conditioner that will save up to 50% on energy bills. Go ahead. Do it. I'll be right here. Whew.
At Chief Bauer Service Experts, save up to $4,000 on a new home comfort system. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. For expert service guaranteed.
Call 866-EXPERTS.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What'll he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante with Jeremy Warner. Coming up at 4:30, Scott Burgess from PrepHoops.com. And at 5:25, the new Illini football strength and conditioning coach, Joey Bose, will be joining the show.
Well, he's been here a year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's been here a year, but it's going to be interesting to talk with him about the off-season program now that it's year 2 for them, but also the injuries he's had to deal with Mikey Dudek and them.
You know what happened, actually, why I thought that? I just saw on Twitter for some reason, I think Juice Williams retweeted, who was the old strength coach?
Lou Hernandez?
That was it. And for some reason in my mind, I had this thing that he was still the the strength and conditioning coach.
He was really good. Bose is really good, too. The kids have really liked him so far.
Time to head to the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line. It's time for the Mettler Center Injury Report with Dr. Jeff Schroeder, Doctor of Physical Therapy, and Kevin Durant. Jeff, he missed Game 2 with a calf injury, and this is after only playing 4 games after an MCL strain. Is there any relation between the two?
Absolutely, there's a relationship, and I believe it was the MCL and bone bruise was on the same leg, if I'm correct on that. So even if it's on the same leg, for sure. If it's on the other leg, also for sure. In my book, there's compensation going on. And when the knee doesn't work real well, and he wasn't expected to even come back probably as soon as he did, it's a grade 2 MCL sprain, which is sort of middle of the road. And then I think what's more important is he had the tibial bone bruise. So it takes a little bit of time for any bruising of the bone to heal up. So he came back maybe a little too soon as a result of the compensation, not being full 100%. I think he's using his calf quite a bit to make up for the problems that he's got going on in his knee.
Jeff, what's the timeline for Kevin Durant to come back from this kind of injury?
That's a great question. It depends on who you ask. They're resting him because they got a 5-day sort of rest period. Depends on the severity of the strain. Really, what they're strain is microscopic tears or injuries to the calf muscle. The calf muscle is more than just one muscle going from the knee to the ankle. You got the inner and outer part of the outer calf muscle, and then you got a deeper calf muscles, and then you have muscles on the outside that complement all that. So where is the true strain? Is it more on the outer part of the leg or the inner part of the leg? My guess would be it's on the outer part of the leg, and just from my experience and just seeing where compensation occurs. So truthfully, they're going to try to get him back within the 5-day window, 6-day window without playing. But it could be that he sits out longer than that, and depending on the magnitude of that calf strain.
Well, as Jeremy said, it may not even matter anyways. The Warriors are rolling right now. Jeff, we always appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, guys.
It was Dr. Jeff Schroeder at the Mettler Center. You can always check out MettlerCenter.com, ask an expert. And if you have anything going on, I know I have a back that I should probably go in and check.
Too much running?
I think so.
Dude, I've
need to ease up on that.
With the nice weather, I've gotten out a little bit. 2 5-mile runs this week.
There you go.
That's ridiculous.
Nonstop.
Yeah,
that's okay.
There's like a stop or two. Yeah. But it's a slow pace, but I'm just trying to build up a little bit. Trying to be like Michael Carpenter here.
Oh, there you go. April and October are the 2 best months of the year to run. Now, unfortunately, I think you guys hit on this yesterday. It will be yet the 3rd marathon weekend in a row. 2 years ago, it was a thunderstorm, where they had to call it. Last year was just rainy, windy. Yeah. It looks like the rain is kind of falling.
And where we live, the wind is really difficult.
It's so bad.
I hate running into the wind.
Hey, coming up next hour, Scott Burgess at 4:30 from PrepHoops.com. At 5:25, 2 years into his job. Not a new guy.
Yeah.
It's Joey Bose, the Illini strength and conditioning coach.
We'll do best case, worst case Illini roster, and who benefits most from Underwood's system.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go!
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month is Brian Malik from the Champaign County Sheriff's Department.
You always have to be keyed up. Do you have to go into a situation knowing anything can happen here and I got to be really on it?
It's always got to be in the back of your mind, but you also have to learn to go into a situation and be even-keeled and not expect the worst to happen. But it's always in the back of your mind that something could happen. But if you go in there at 100 obviously some people don't really appreciate that, and that's understandable.
Well, you can just tell by your demeanor, you really want to help folks kind of figure this out. And as one of your other deputies told me, it's, they're not having their best day.
Yeah, most people, when they call for the sheriff's office, most of the time they're having a very bad day. And you show up and you try to do your best to make their day a little better. Doesn't always work, but you're doing your best to make it happen.
Brought to you by SK Exteriors. Their website, callsktoday.com. You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, The Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. President Trump offering condolences to the French people after a deadly attack on police officers.
It's a very, very terrible thing that's going on in the world today, but it looks like another terrorist attack.
The shooting happened on the most famous street in Paris, where Fox Radio's Simon Owen is live.
Lisa, the word from officials here confirming 2 police officers were shot at the Champs-Élysées, an iconic avenue in central Paris known for its luxury stores and theatres. 1 officer was killed, the other injured. The attacker is also dead, apparently killed by police. Prosecutors here have opened a terrorism investigation, although there's also talk here in Paris that this could have been an attempted armed robbery. We're told President Francois Hollande is to hold an emergency meeting. All this 3 days before French voters go to the polls in a presidential election where security is among the big issues. Lisa?
Thanks, Simon. There's late word of 2 police officers shot in Seattle while responding to a robbery. No word yet on their conditions. President Trump's comments on Paris coming at a joint White House news conference with Italy's Prime Minister, where he said again he hasn't given up on replacing Obamacare.
The plan gets better and better and better, and it's gotten really, really good. And a lot of people are liking it a lot. We have a good chance of getting it soon. I'd like to say next week, but it will be, I believe we will get it.
He also says he wants a health care bill and to keep the government open. The latest temporary funding runs out a week from tomorrow. Renewed hope for health care reform and tax cuts rallying Wall Street. The Dow up 174. A former teacher accused of kidnapping a 15-year-old student in Tennessee is now charged with taking a minor across state lines for sex. Hours after he and the girl were found today in Northern California, more than a month after they went missing. This is the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
Ready for a new tractor? At LS Tractor, we'll be the first to tell you to shop and compare. That's right, shop our competition. We're that confident that the LS Tractor combination of more standard features, better performance, competitive price, and proven commitment to customer satisfaction deliver value that's unequaled by another tractor. Period. Want more tractor for your money? Look around. You'll see there's one that gives it to you. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
5 times more hires are made through Indeed.com than any other job site, according to independent research. Imagine a lottery that had 5 times more winners, or a Sunday with 5 times more touchdowns. When you're hiring, it makes 5 times more sense to use Indeed. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
The death of former football player Aaron Hernandez in prison is now officially ruled a suicide, an announcement just made by prosecutors in Massachusetts. They've also just confirmed 3 handwritten notes were found next to a Bible in the maximum security cell where Hernandez was found hanging from a bedsheet early yesterday. Meantime, his attorney, Jose Baez, has hired a prominent medical examiner for an independent autopsy.
We're looking, and we're leaving no stone unturned, as I promised this family I would do.
He also says the family wants to donate Hernandez's brain to concussion researchers, but the coroner's office so far wouldn't release it. Baez won an acquittal for Hernandez last week in a double murder case. He was serving life for a separate murder conviction and was appealing. 2 utility company workers gunned down in St. Louis. Police say the gunman, apparently at random, opened fire on the men in a residential neighborhood, then shot and killed himself. No word yet on any possible motive. A joint visit to the southern U.S. border by the U.S. Attorney General and Homeland Security Chief John Kelly.
People who illegally cross our borders do not respect the laws of our nation. We want to get the lawbreakers off our streets and out of our country. for the good of every one of our communities.
Defending the president's policies and the plan to build a wall, critics continue to raise questions about so-called dreamers brought to the U.S. illegally as children and protected under Obama administration policies. The Trump administration says they're not being targeted, but that anyone here illegally could be subject to deportation. Tiger Woods just confirming more back surgery, his fourth operation today in Texas, just 2 days after he said his back was progressing. Woods might now go another full year without playing a major. His most recent competition was in early February, where he shot 77 and withdrew because of back spasms. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long. Get those ACs tuned up. Just call AC 866 Experts or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 46. Friday, cooler, high 58, low of 42. Saturday, chance of rain, high 57, a low of 39. Right now, overcast, 73 degrees in Champaign-Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante with Jeremy Warner on what has turned out to be it could not be a more beautiful day for Mark Smith and his family to come to campus.
And they have wrapped up their visit, according to Derek Piper. And he said Mark Smith messaged him that he had a great time up on campus today on his Illini visit.
Okay.
So now we wait.
We wait.
Now we wait.
And the waiting is the hardest part. But no commitment.
Tom Petty?
That's right. Yeah, he's going to be in town in a couple weeks.
There you go.
But, so now we wait. There is no commitment yet. Not that we were expecting or anticipating one. That would have been a pretty quick turnaround.
We just got a text. Is it a bad sign Smith didn't commit on his visit?
Don't worry. I thought the same thing.
We don't know.
No.
Did he? Is he going to announce it right away?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he going to wait some more time? Is he going to go to Ohio State? I don't know yet. We got to wait on details.
But now Derek said he's going home, right? Were they going to fly to Ohio State or drive straight there?
I mean, you could probably fly from St. Louis to Columbus, right?
Do official visits, they pay for all the transportation.
Yeah, so I'd rather fly than drive from
That's
Champaign.
a long drive through Indiana.
And a long drive back to Edwardsville.
God.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Ohio State, that's a scheduled official visit. But from everything I've heard, it's a Illinois-Michigan State battle. I think Michigan State would feel, if he did not commit today, Michigan State obviously feels a lot better. I mean, but Illinois had a chance to sell itself for a couple more hours today, and I think that's important. You had an audience with him and his family. You have a shot. You have a shot there, and they felt optimistic going into today.
Is there a factor that maybe we are not giving enough credence to? Like, in other words, a selling point, or maybe it be the proximity to home and the ability for his family to see
Illinois?
Going for Illinois.
I mean, the things going for Illinois are emotion, right? That you were a fan of them growing up, that you want to be the guy right away, or that you have this kind of pull to the in-state school. All that's, emotional. And you maybe want to be the guy known for turning it around. I can understand that kind of emotion to it. But if you're going to start putting more logic to it, more, this is what this program's shown and I can do it, and that's where Michigan State starts to stack up, right?
You couldn't fault him for going to Michigan State, not one bit, because when you make a list, pros and cons of going to Illinois, going to Michigan State, and this is where the frustration sets in, that as an Illinois fan, you've gotten yourself to a point as a program that...
Here's one positive, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Juwan Evans.
Yeah.
Mark Smith Brad Underwood could sell the heck out of. Juwan Evans was a really good freshman. I turned him into a first-round draft pick, right? So Tom Izzo can sell Denzel Valentine. He can sell Gary Harris, but I can sell Juwan Evans in my system
as a lead guard.
As a lead guard, where that's your role. That's going to be your role. And Juwan Evans was one of the top point guards in the country this past year.
I just get that feeling, again, a hunch. It's not like I'm in texting communication with anyone in the Smith family, but you get this feeling that as long as this is drawn out, that he keeps coming back to Illinois. That Illinois is the default.
That they keep getting opportunities.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. It's either he's drawn to it or he's just giving them courtesy.
I think
giving him courtesy would be the worst thing for Illinois. They'd rather hear a no, because otherwise you go all out for Charlie Moore. I don't know if they are or not.
I think the courtesy would have ended after the first meeting at home with Underwood.
I would hope so.
And Jamal Walker.
I agree with that read of it, but I'm saying if it is courtesy, that'd be the worst thing ever.
It would be, because you have Charlie Moore out there, and you don't want to really wait on that, because it seems like, I don't know, time is probably of the essence for a guy like Charlie Moore, especially when Kansas gets involved.
Yeah, especially that. All right, so let's break down, before we get into the best case, worst case rosters, let's talk about the current roster, which is Tejon Lucas, Jalen Coleman-Lands, Kipper Nichols, LaRon Black, Michael Finke, DJ Williams, Aaron Jordan. DeMonte Williams and Trent Frazier will be a part of that, but we haven't seen them play college basketball yet. So how would you rank those guys, and who benefits most from the Brad Underwood system?
Throw out a name, and I'll give him a...
Who do you think would be the top guy who benefits most from this system?
I mean, Finke would be one pick, but I get the feeling that Jalen Coleman-Lands is going to have the most noticeable upgrade from sophomore to junior year based on this system.
I think it's Finke, and I think Jalen Coleman-Lands is 2. I think LaRon Black is 3. The reason I go Finke 1 is because they use that high post action so much. And what's Finke really good at? Shooting.
He's a great passer.
And passing.
Yeah.
Right? And he's also a pretty good offensive rebounder. You don't think of him as a top athlete but he's very good at offensive rebounding, as is LaRon Black. And I think he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. And I think he could be one of the top 2 or 3 assist guys on this team actually next year. But he should get a lot of open shots. He can go off the dribble and attack the basket. I think that's what he's got to work on a little bit more. So I just think Finke's usage is going to go way up. And I think this system with him at the 4 or the 5 will use him a little bit better than John Gross's.
You know, one guy who I don't think it would make a difference who he'd play for, the impact he'd make on the court, would be Kipper Nichols. I feel like that's kind of even. No matter who you put him under, this is what Kipper does well, and that will be his role. Like he would carve out that same niche, no matter who the coach would be. So I'd put him towards the bottom of it, but that's not to say he's not going to improve. I just don't think it'll be improvement based on the system.
I think Tejon Lucas is there, too. I just think that kid, I don't think this system changes a lot for him. He might shoot a little bit more, but I think he's going to be a good player in most systems. But I think defensively, Underwood's going to love him. I think Kipper and Tejon, I don't know how high their ceilings are, Carp, but I think they're high floor guys. Those guys are going to be contributors for you for the next 3 years.
And you know what I like from both of them? They produced early on. And if you can do that freshman year, you have to think there's going to be a natural progression as they go along. But it was the intangible things that those two guys specifically brought to the team when they were playing more regularly. A toughness. I mean, I hate to throw that word out because it's been used ad nauseum the last 5 years, but they are tough kids, and there is a headiness to the way that they play. So Tejon and Kipper, they aren't necessarily the flashiest guys, and their stat lines are not going to reflect that either. But when they are on the court, I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable in what they're able to do.
I agree with you.
And that is a nice feeling to have. Now, Kipper is also a sophomore going into this year, right? Eligibility-wise?
Yeah,
redshirt sophomore.
He's a sophomore. Both those guys sophomores, so you got him for the next 3 years. I think JCL will benefit a lot. I mean, just the open shots he's going to get, the quick shots, which we always talk about with JCL. Sometimes he doesn't take the smartest shots, but I'm okay with it, right? Because he is just an elite shooter. I mean, he could be a guy who leaps to 15, 16 points a game.
I can see that, yeah.
Right? Especially with how many more points you expect to score in this kind of... I mean, there's going to be a lot more possessions, you'd imagine, in this kind of offense. It's a big year for him, though. Like, how good are you going to be? And he's got an offseason, hopefully. He hasn't had an offseason yet.
That's
full offseason. Attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line. Can he do those things to complement his really great three-point shooting?
Because wasn't his 2-point percentage worse than his 3-point?
Yeah, I heard Bright Weiser say that the other day, and that's true. I mean, he shoots 75% of his shots are threes.
So that means that the 2-point percentage is really low.
Right.
Because, I mean, if that's going to bring down your overall percentage and it's maybe 25% of the shots you take, that's not good.
My number 3 is LaRon Black because I think what Underwood's going to tell him, offensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, offensive rebounds. And I think, they practice that so much. Oklahoma State went from the 200th offensive rebound percentage team under Underwood and Ford's last year to 4th in the country last year. That's just a mentality. And I think LaRon Black can be a double-double threat. I mean, we saw it towards the end of the year, he played pretty well.
Yeah,
right?
he had a lull between probably December, mid-February.
Yeah, and I think LaRon Black, we haven't seen his ceiling yet, and I still think it's really, really high.
Well, didn't it feel like with him and JCL that you see the talent, you see that they have the body types for it, that they have the skill as well, and skill is a very hard thing to teach. But for whatever reason, and we saw this really with any individual on the team that wasn't named Malcolm Hill or Maverick Morgan to an extent, that there were extended periods where one guy just wasn't very good for 6 or 7 games. I don't know how much the culture or the coaching directly fed into that, but
and that's why Brad Underwood's here, right?
Yeah,
is to get the most out of these guys. DJ Williams and Aaron Jordan, I don't know where to put those guys because Aaron Jordan, it can help, but what's the ceiling there? He should get open shots, I think he plays defense and he's got some length there, so I think he could be a role player there. But DJ Williams, I just don't know. He's got to show me a lot more that I can say, yep, that's a player you can count on.
Yeah, until proven otherwise, if you were to grade him so far at Illinois, it's incomplete. We don't know, and I would like to see him establish a role and find a niche within this team. And I don't think it's too little, too late. I mean, there are
we saw Mav.
Yeah. Because with Maverick, it was as late as that Minnesota game his junior year.
Yeah.
At Minnesota, where the first 10 minutes of that game, he was terrible. And then the last 30, and did Illinois win that game? Or it was at least competitive. And he had a great game the rest of the way. And then after that, he became this 12-point a game, 8-rebound a game. Well, maybe not 8, 6. I'll give him that kind of guy for the rest of his career. So I don't see the same sort of jump for DJ, but statistically, it doesn't have to be that. When you have that size, when you have that athleticism, there are so many ways that you can bring value to the court.
Just know your role.
Yeah.
Just know your role and play that role. That's not a bad thing. Be a role player.
Heading to Jupiters of the Crossing phone line. Matt from Sydney. Thanks for calling back. Matt, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
I don't mean to sound, negative at all, but my $1 million question here is with Coach Underwood's system and how he wants to run the floor is twofold. Number one, can we hide the fact that we don't have a big man if we miss on our recruiting here because of how I assume with this system we want to run the floor? And then two, which of the big men with Coach Underwood's system, if we miss on, is going to hurt us the least? All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. So, yeah, his system, he's never had true fives, right, in the traditional sense. Oklahoma State really didn't this year, and, of course, Stephen F. Austin didn't. I do think you need a burlier guy, maybe can protect the rim and get rebounds. LaRon Black's just 6'7". Maybe he's 6'6", right? Michael Finke's tall, but he's not going to protect the rim very much. And it doesn't bother you on offense. I think on offense it helps you. On defense, it's going to have an impact, right? Because you're just not going to be able to protect the rim. That's where you need your guards to force turnovers. And that's what Underwood's system has done, is they are elite at forcing turnovers. So you're going to give up some stuff in the post, some stuff around the rim, but you can also create a lot of fast break points by forcing a lot of turnovers and making people uncomfortable. That's what you saw out of South Carolina. That's what you saw out of West Virginia as well.
That's where maybe Tijon is sneaky, because we were talking about who most excites us.
Because we're talking more about the offensive system,
yeah,
right?
Think about that, how disruptive he could be guarding the opposing point guard.
And we never thought that.
No.
When he committed here. We never talked about his defense, and that's a credit to him how much he's improved that.
When you see that freshman year, it bodes well for the rest of the time. Usually there is maybe a 2-year grace period before you start to point at a guy and say, well, he's a lockdown defender. I'm not going to go that far for Tijon. I don't know if he was locked down, but he was at times. And that's more than you get from most freshmen.
I do want to put this out there. This happened last week, by the way. But Bishop Meade, the high school of Francesco Badacci, just tweeted out that he received an offer from Illinois.
Okay.
That happened last week or a week and a half ago when Underwood went in and visited him. But now that it's out there, Illinois is his best offer. He's currently visiting Virginia, I believe, so that seems like the top player, but I think he'd be a great fit for what you need when you talk about length, athleticism, defensive difference maker around the rim. I think that's huge. And Virginia offered him today, too. So.
Wow, okay. Why would you want to play for Tony Bennett in that style of basketball?
Right?
I don't get it.
It's boring.
But you know what's funny? All things being equal, if you told me Coach A and Coach B are going to have similar records over the next 5-6 years, then I start considering style of play, if I had to choose between one of them.
But Tony Bennett's
Tony Bennett's amazing.
Like, are you really going to complain about that? It's like,
No.
That's like Wisconsin.
No.
Like, are you really going to complain about a style of play? I'm fine with Wisconsin ball. As long as it wins, who cares?
You know who'd be great as your 5 in this system? I'm guessing.
Who?
Nana.
Dang right he would.
That athleticism.
Dang right.
To get up and down the court.
You know, Nana would be great on every team, Carp.
Well,
he'd be great on every team except the team where he's got to be the number 2 or number 3 scoring option on the team.
That is the problem.
No, he was as valuable as a defender as there was. When A.J. Hammonds won Defensive Player of the Year, I thought it was a joke because he had a bunch of blocks. I thought that was a joke. Nana Egwu, if you watched basketball games, I mean, since he's been gone, Gross's defenses were terrible. Just terrible. The way he hedged screens, the way he protected the rim, even if he didn't get a block shot, he just impacted people. And that it's not about all blocks and steals. It's how uncomfortable do you make opponents. And I thought Tracy Abrams did that early in his career, but more so Nana Egwu just made opponents uncomfortable. And when he was in the game, he absolutely changed games on the defensive end of the court.
Even Brandon Paul had moments defensively.
Yeah,
DJ was solid. He knew where to be. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, Sam McLaurin. I mean, if you think about that first year, the Gross was here.
You love a Sam McLaurin right now.
Oh, man.
Where are you, Sam McLaurin?
As a radio show, we'd love another Sam McLaurin. What are we going to talk about this summer?
A month of fodder there.
Francisco Botticelli.
Francesco Badacci.
Botticelli. Okay, this is not... It's funny because somehow in this culture, in this society, it's okay to do the Italian voice. You know, like it's not actually, wrong, I guess.
Are we being racist by doing that?
I think so. But the thing
because if we did that Asian version,
it wouldn't be good.
No,
we wouldn't be here tomorrow,
trouble, right?
And we would not.
So are we? No, I don't think we are.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's a total stereotype.
Is he actually Italian?
Yes, he's from Italy.
He is from Italy,
and then he moved to Kansas.
You see, I would like an international player.
Sure, it's worked out for a lot of other schools.
The first one since Jens Kuyava. If he was international.
Well, I mean,
Olaf Blob.
Wasn't Nana born in Africa? Or did his parents move here? I mean, I think he was born there. But that doesn't count because he grew up here.
Yeah, exactly. So this kid, Francesco, grew up in Italy and just recently moved to the States. I know
he's an Italian native.
Okay.
Italian citizen.
I would like him to commit. Well, that was an odd sentence right there. But no, I would like that kind of athlete on this team right now. And I would also be interested to see what that would mean, because we have a few months before the season would even start or before fall semester starts, what that would mean for DJ.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, if you're going out and you're getting this athletic guy that is meant to fill the role that we're kind of envisioning DJ Williams could fill if he's still on this roster, I don't know how well that bodes for him.
Yeah,
but if you've seen the clip of Francesco, he is an athletic kid, a project a bit. But even though he's a project, I think that's more of the skill aspect of the game. I think you could still slot him out there for a few minutes a game, and he could get some rebounds for you and play some defense.
Yeah, I think he'd be an interesting player to add to this mix. Okay, coming up next, we'll talk more about this. Mark Smith. We'll talk about DeMonte Williams. Jeremiah Tillman, Javon Pickett. Where are they heading? Scott Burgess from PrepHoops.com is going to join us coming up next.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days. Mortgage loans and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Your four-legged friends need protection too. Pet insurance from Pekin Insurance covers cats and dogs at least 6 weeks of age or older as an enhancement to your homeowner's coverage. Choose between $2,500 or $5,000 worth of coverage for a variety of pet health services. You can even take your pet to the veterinarian of your choice. Learn more at PekinInsurance.com or ask your local agent about how to protect your furry family members. For pet insurance that is beyond the expected, contact Pekin Insurance today.
Check out the new BMW Champaign. It's not like Unlike the old Twin City, they have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy. The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
Money Smart Week is back April 22nd through the 29th. There's always something new to learn about money management, so make sure you get involved with one or many of the events planned for Money Smart Week 2017. It's an entire week of classes, workshops, training programs, and seminars to address money management at every stage of life. Everyone will benefit, from kids to young adults to those getting ready for retirement. This week of events is for everyone. Visit MoneySmartWeek.org for a list of events surrounding Money Smart Week, or search Money Smart Week Champaign County on Facebook.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go.
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It's time out for the Warner Wrap. Yo!
Thank you, Tay. 426. I'm Jeremy Warner with your SportsCenter update, brought to you by Prairie View Landscaping. Save up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care through the end of the month. Just email mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Big day for Illinois basketball. It hosted the Midwest top uncommitted guard and reigning Illinois Mr. Basketball. Edwardsville guard Mark Smith visited Illinois today. He told Derek Piper of IlliniInquirer.com he had a great time up on campus. Tom Izzo, Michigan State coach, visited him in-home on Tuesday, and Duke assistant John Shire visited him on Wednesday. Smith also has a scheduled official visit to Ohio State this weekend. His decision is expected within the next week. The 25th ranked Illini softball team won its 8th straight game with an 8-2 victory yesterday against Butler. Nicole Evans, she's awesome. She hit her 15th homer of the season, 50th of her career, leaving her just one short of tying the career Illini record set by Angelina Mexicano. Back to Illini basketball, Francesco Badocchi, according to one of our texters who took 2 years of Italian, so we'll go with it. Francesco Badocchi. 6'7", springy athletic forward out of Kansas, received an offer from Brad Underwood. MLB Cardinals have placed Johnny Peralta on the DL with an upper respiratory illness. Left-handed pitcher Tyler Lyons has been activated. Carlos Martinez takes the L tonight for the first of 4 in Milwaukee. Zach Davies on the hill for the Brewers. You can hear it here loud and clear on ESPN Radio 93.5. Both the Cubs and White Sox are off today. NBA tonight, the Cavs look to go up 3-0 on the Pacers. Raptors and Bucks split a 1-1 tie, and the Spurs look to take a 3-0 lead on the Grizzlies. Winter season over tonight for the Blackhawks, who are down 3-0 to the Predators, entering tonight's Game 4 in Nashville. And Tiger Woods announced today he has his 4th back surgery surgery in 40 months. He's out at least 6 months.
I think we can put away the narrative, will Tiger ever return to form? I don't think he is at this point. It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Warner. We have Scott Burgess on the horn here. Real quick, we have had a few texts and tweets about international players with Illinois.
Ibby Jim Day.
Ibby Jim Day. This was a tweet from someone, and I'll cite them here in a second, but they said that Nana was born in Nigeria and moved to Chicago when he was 5. That is from Chunky Jake Arrieta.
I covered Nana a lot in recruiting, and I covered that aspect a lot, and I was pretty sure of it. I just couldn't remember exactly how old he was when he came over.
Time to head to the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line with Scott Burgess from prephoops.com, and on Twitter at Scotty B. Scott. Thanks for joining us today, Scott.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. It's Mark Smith Day here, Scott, for Illinois, as a lot of fans are really into this. What did you see out of Mark Smith over the last year? We don't see this kind of rise that often.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique story. I can't remember anything like this in a while. I think the closest thing I would say is Anthony Davis, but, he grew from 6'2" to 6'9", 6'10", over a summer. But Mark, he started off being a baseball commit for Mizzou. He committed in January of his junior year. So a lot of basketball schools really kind of backed off. He didn't really play AAU much and mostly focused on baseball during the off season. But, we saw him quite a bit throughout his sophomore year and his junior year, and we always had him ranked as kind of a low major prospect if he decided to do basketball. And then he had a really strong junior year and thought he was still going to go baseball. He came up last July and played in LA Summer Jam and opened up a lot of eyes to college coaches, and he decided to reopen his recruitment at that time. And a lot of mid-major and low-major schools jumped in. And, he took 3 official visits to Wright State, Northern Illinois, and SIU Edwardsville. And, I talked to him that week leading up to National Signing Day, and it looked even up until that last Wednesday, the early signing period, like he was going to make a call for one of those 3 schools. And he decided to wait it out a little bit, and then magic happened, and he became a whole different player. I think that's one of the biggest things with Mark that's unique is it's not that he necessarily grew like Anthony Davis, but his skill set just got so much better. He's always been a plus passer and a big-bodied combo guard, but his jump shot consistency really improved, especially, well beyond the three-point arc. I think his handles have gotten a lot better over the last year as well. He's always been able to bully his way to the basket, but now he's got some more shake in his game. He can go around guys. And, I saw him at the first time this high school season I saw him was at Collinsville. And I was a little skeptical because I'd seen him a lot playing with Edwardsville, and he absolutely was a different player. He was completely dominant against Jordan Goodwin, and then it kind of blew up from there.
Yeah, Scott, what would he mean if Illinois was able to get him? What would he mean for Illinois, and what kind of immediate impact do you think a kid like him could make?
Yeah, it would be a big deal, especially after losing Jeremiah and Javon over the last couple weeks. I think that would be a big boost to the morale of the new coaching staff and the fan base. And on the court, I think he would be a major impact player as well. He has a Big Ten body, so that's not going to be something you're going to have to concern yourself with. Does he need to get in the weight room and add strength? He's ready to go from day one. And from a skill set standpoint, I think he can come in next year and be able to play both the 1 and the 2. Whether it's with Trent Frazier or Tajon Lucas at the other lead guard spot, I think he can play with them, and they would complement each other's games well. So it'd be a big get on the court and off the court.
Scott, because we don't see this meteoric rise from any recruit very often, and there's not a lot of context or history behind someone that goes from a low major prospect to just blowing up where Kentucky would offer him, is there any reason for skepticism regarding Mark Smith's game? Because I know up here we're also excited at the prospect of getting him, and as we talk about it, we don't really maybe dissect areas of his game that might be concerning at the next level.
Right. I think the biggest concern that I've had is defensively, maybe a little bit slow laterally guarding defensively. But every other question I had, as far as going into the high school season, was answered. Like I said, I was concerned about a couple areas. The consistency in the jump shot, that was answered. And just being able to beat guys more with his quickness and handles rather than just being overly physical and getting in the lane. I saw that a lot with him early on in his career where he was just so much bigger than everybody else. He could just bully his way to the hoop. In those areas, he has gotten better. I think defensively is definitely one area that he'll have to continue to improve. But, there's not a lot of college-ready guys defensively anyway coming into the college levels. But as far as, like you were saying, I think a lot of people I know a lot of people up in Chicago especially are kind of skeptical of Mark because the only game they really saw him play was one game against Simeon, and he only had 12 points. Those people are saying, oh, maybe he's not as good as people think because that was the only game he played against what some people would call legit competition. Well, he went up against Althoff and twice, maybe 3 times, and he went for 30 both times I saw him. He went up against, East St. Louis. The Metro East this year was probably better than a lot of the teams up in Chicago. So he went up against legit competition consistently throughout the year. I'm not worried at all about him being able to, contribute at a high major program next year.
Scott Burgess from PrepHoops.com and on Twitter at Scotty B Scout.
Scott, what do you think of this recruitment right now? I mean, Michigan State really going hard after him. Kentucky showed a little bit of interest. Seems like that's gone away. You have a new Illinois coach. He has a visit to Ohio State, but I don't know if he's actually going to make that. Duke called in on him. I mean, what do you kind of make of this recruitment right now?
Starting with Illinois, today's obviously, their last chance to make their case. I think Jamal Walker, the assistant coach that was under the old staff, did a great job recruiting him. Coach Underwood made him a priority from day one. I think with Illinois, you look at their selling point is you have immediate playing time here, and you can be an instant impact guy in a system that's a high-octane offense that you saw what they did with guys like Juwan Evans last year, where they completely boosted their offense in 1 year under him, and that he can play with other ball handlers in that system, and he can build something special at Illinois. With Michigan State, they had the in-home visit on Tuesday night. All reports were the official visit that he took a couple weeks ago, or last weekend, it went well, but he didn't commit, which left things open for everybody else. I think their selling point to him is we have a Hall of Fame coach, and we're going to contend for a national championship next year with Bridges and the rest of that crew coming back. I think the negative with Michigan State is he's not going to have immediate playing time with guys like Cassius Winston and Tum Nairn, who are both top 50 players that are gonna get those minutes ahead of him next year. You mentioned Ohio State. I was told as of this morning that the plan was for him to still take the Ohio State visit, but that was obviously before he went to Illinois, so we'll have to see how that plays out. I know Ohio State came and watched him play 4 times this past year. They've been quietly making a push for a while. They've not been heavily mentioned, I don't think, until maybe the last week or so. But I know they've Coach Paulus and Coach Mata had definitely been in to see him multiple times. And their selling point is, come and be the next point guard in our system. How would he fit with Jaquan Lyle is kind of the question with them. And then you mentioned Duke. Coach Shire was in to see him the other day. I think with Duke, that was more of a courtesy thing. At the time, they were kind of concerned with whether Grayson Allen was going to go pro, potentially Frank Jackson going pro, and then obviously Trayvon Duval, the number 1 point guard in the country, still on the board for them. So it's kind of a contingency plan for them. I don't think that's going to go too much further, and my personal opinion is I don't think Kentucky's in the mix that much after they got the Baker kid from California. And I would expect a decision here in the next week. Yeah, hopefully.
I think a lot of fans would like to know too. Charlie Moore back on the market, and it's been mentioned. John Rothstein of CBS Sports at Illinois and Kansas are back in that. What do you make of Charlie back on the market? Is the third time a charm for Illinois there?
Yeah, I know Illinois fans hope it is. He. I haven't talked to him since he got released from California, but I think Illinois would definitely, if you put all of the dots together, that's the one that kind of makes the most sense. They recruited him really hard the first time around. It seemed like almost just it was a timing thing that was off a lot of it, where his dad got sick right before the visit, and Illinois had to take a point guard, so they took Tejon Lucas. And I think they're going to be definitely a contender for him. You mentioned Kansas. When Charlie put his release out there of why he was leaving, he mentioned that, it was a family situation. So if that's a main factor in it, I would think that plays more toward Illinois as far as their chances going up, as well as having Chin Coleman, the new assistant coach, who has very, very strong connections to the Mac Irvin Fire program. Obviously, Charlie played for them, played for Nick Irvin at Morgan Park. So I think Illinois would definitely be in the mix. And I know a lot of people are asking about him and Mark Smith. I think they could play together. I think they have different styles of game. They have different body types. So I definitely think it's not one or the other. And also, Charlie's not going to be there next year. He would have to sit out a year as well.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about that too, Scott, is for someone like Charlie Moore, who's already a proven commodity at the Power 5 level, usually maybe if it's a kid coming out of high school, he would look at a roster and think, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get playing time within this group of good guards. But do you think that's also benefits Illinois, and that Charlie Moore probably looks at this and thinks, I'm going to get playing time even if it is Illinois with a loaded backcourt?
Yeah, I don't think he has any concern about who's on the roster as far as, can I beat this guy out? Can I beat Tajon out? Can I beat whoever? I think starter Trent Frazier, if it was Mark Smith, he knows he's good enough that in 2018, 2019, he's going to be one of the starting guards at Illinois from day one. He proved that at Cal this year. He had a really good season out there. We had him at number one. I think everyone in the state had him at number one, but he even surprised me a little bit as far as how well he did as an instant impact guy out there. And then with whatever program he goes to, he'll have another year to practice with that team, continue to get in the weight room and get stronger. And his game's only going to get better over the next year when he's not able to play on the court with the team, but practice against them every day.
Scott, I wanted to ask you about Jeremiah Tillman and Javon Pickett. And, obviously disappointing for Illinois fans when it felt like you kind of had this class lined up and that these were two East St. Louis area kids, and that's a market that you're trying to tap into going forward. But I'm just curious to get your take on how well you think, or I should say the immediate impact that a Tillman or a Pickett could have as first-year players next year. Different schools, obviously, that they'd probably be attending, but how do you see them as freshmen, and do you see either one of them as a project more so than the other?
Right. I think with Jeremiah, kind of the way I've described him to people is, and this was more so when he was committed to Illinois, I said, my concern is from an Illinois fans perspective, is that they were going to put a lot of expectations on him that were kind of similar in a way to Jeremy Richmond. He was kind of looked at as, he's the savior of the program. This is the chosen one that's come to help us take from the promised land. And Jeremy wasn't ready for that right away, and it came out to be a disappointment. I think with Jeremiah, he's the best prospect in the state, in my opinion. But I don't think he's going to be a guy next year that's going to come in and average 15 and 10. He's a guy that you're looking at in year 2 and 3 potentially to be the guy on your team. It was going to take a little bit of time for development. He tends to get in some foul trouble, and he had a good year. He didn't have a great year of high school this year, but I still think with what he has as far as his projectability, his length, his athleticism, and his upside, he's a very good prospect that he'll definitely end up at a high major school. I would tend to guess Mizzou is probably the leader, with Kansas and potentially SLU as the other two options. And then with Javon, a lot of people, when he decommitted from Illinois, were kind of like, it's not that big of a loss. I'm a huge Javon Pickett fan. We actually have him at number 5 in the state on Prep Boost Illinois. He's a silky smooth scorer. He's got good size at 6'5". He does need to add some more strength to his game, but he has a really good scoring game. I saw him play 7 times this year in person. He scored between 25 and 41 every time I saw him. I think he's going to be a very good get for someone late. Right now he holds offers from Western Kentucky, SLU, and Bradley, some of the other schools that are showing some interest, Illinois State, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and Wisconsin Badgers have shown a little bit of interest as well. I think whoever gets him late is going to get a good player that he might not be able to come in next year and be an impact guy, but he has a lot of Malcolm Hill-like qualities where if you just look at their games in high school and how they were physically built, Malcolm, I look back at Malcolm, some of the headshots I took of him at games when I saw him as a junior and a senior, and look at him now. Physically, he looks like a whole different player. And I think Javon has the same type of frame and same type of game as he does. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Malcolm, obviously, but I think he'll have a good career at wherever he ends up. And if he ends up at a mid-major school, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to make an impact for, especially his sophomore, junior, and senior year.
Scott Burgess, PrepHoops.com. DeMonte Williams is a kid we really don't know what to expect. He was really inconsistent as a junior and during a lot of that AAU circuit last spring and summer. And then he tears his ACL just when it seems like he was starting to come into his own. What do you kind of make of DeMonte Williams coming into Illinois?
Right. I mean, you hit it on the head there as far as kind of the ups and downs of his career. He was, I wasn't a huge fan of him when I saw him as a freshman, and then he made a huge leap that next summer, and then he had a solid year, and it's kind of been a roller coaster as far as production for him. The consistent effort is my biggest thing, and just seeing him be able to take over games. I didn't think he was great last spring and summer on the circuit with the Fire, but when I saw him, like you mentioned, he tore his knee, but I got to see him at the Springfield Lamphere Thanksgiving tournament. When I saw him there, he was outstanding. It was the best I'd seen him play probably in about a year and a half, and he was scoring, he was passing, he's got good size, and kind of a combo guard with some strength. He's a good athlete. When he really wants to, he can score from mid-range and attack the basket. But it's all going to come down to how much he comes back from a health standpoint. There's several kids in this year's class. Christian Negron, who's going to Loyola, is another one like that, where you can evaluate them as what they were before the injury, but you don't really know 100% what they're going to be when they come back from that injury. Yeah. DeMonte's a great kid. I got to know him over the last 4 years, and I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope he comes back and and lives up to his potential, because he definitely has a big time ability.
Scott, we appreciate your time. I got one more for you. Brad Underwood is taking over at Illinois when the state doesn't seem that loaded with talent. What do you see kind of coming up the next couple of years?
Yeah, to be honest, it's not great. In 2018, I think you look at 4 kids that are high major. Io Dosamu from Morgan Park is the number 1 player in the state, obviously a huge Illinois target. Then you have Tim Finke right there by you guys in Champaign. You have Taylor Horton Tucker, who doesn't have an offer yet, but I would tend to think he'll be one that Illinois will get involved with from Simeon, 6'4", 6'5", small forward. And then another name to watch that's going to be intriguing is Drew Peterson from Libertyville, 6'7", small forward, shooting guard, plays with the Illinois Wolves, a smooth game. Those are really your only 4 high major targets in the 18 class. And when you talk about 2019, it all begins with Francis Okoro from Normal West, physical body, 6'9", big, that he's just a man-child, great rebounder, snatches rebounds in traffic. A couple of other high major names to look out for: Terry Cowan from DePaul Prep, who has an Illinois offer, E.J. Liddell, Belleville West, power forward, Illinois offer, and then 2 others that don't, but are rangy small forwards to keep on the radar: Terrence Hargrove from East St. Louis, Bryant Brown from Waukegan. And then in 2020, the rising sophomore class, current freshman, Adam Miller and DJ Stewart are kind of the headliners in that class. A couple of point guards from Miller's from Peoria Manual, and DJ Stewart, everyone saw him go nuts in the state championships in Fenway. So those are some of your names. But you are right. As far as the elite high major talent, there's not like a top 10 player right now in the state.
Good stuff from Scott Burgess, PrepHoops.com, and on Twitter at Scotty B. Scout. Thanks for your time, Scott.
Thanks, guys.
Great stuff, Scott. And this comes from Adam Jardy, who covers Ohio State for the Columbus Dispatch. Starting to have significant doubts Mark Smith visits the Buckeyes tomorrow was the plan Wednesday night, his mom told me then.
Really makes you think.
It does.
Oh, boy. I mean...
359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. Lante's gone today. I'm just saying.
You're right.
I'm just saying Lante is not here today.
I'm going to process that. After the break, it is the Tay and J Show.
There's nothing better than real Texas barbecue, and no better place to get it than Hickory River Smokehouse. Every cut of beef brisket, pork shoulder, turkey breast, pork loin, and chicken are carefully selected and rubbed with a signature spice blend, infused with hickory smoke for a juicy award-winning flavor, and served up right here in Central Illinois for over 20 years. So come on in for a taste as big as Texas. Dine in, take it home, or serve it up to the entire gang on North Cunningham in Urbana.
Shop local, support your community, and get healthy at Urbana's Market at the Square each and every Saturday, May through November, rain or shine, from 7 to noon on the corner of Illinois and Vine in downtown Urbana.
Shop and enjoy Illinois-grown products, including meat, dairy, honey, baked goods, produce, flowers, plants, arts, crafts, and food trucks.
Market goers will also enjoy chef demos and samples on the first Thursday of each month. Make sure to check out their new website, urbanamarket.org, for info about vendors, programs, and much more.
Urbana's food truck rallies are back. Shake up your lunch routine and join in the last Tuesday of the month from April to October at the Urbana Civic Center, 108 East Water Street in downtown Urbana. Make sure you check out the City of Urbana Facebook page or visit urbanaillinois.us/foodtruck_rally for an updated list of your favorite food trucks that are participating the last Tuesday of the month through October. See you there.
Join the U of I Community Credit Union for the grand finale of Money Smart Week. It's Shred-a-Palooza, a free event with shred trucks, food, and fun. Shred sensitive papers and documents, then enjoy music, local food trucks, and free inflatables. Complete family fun with a purpose. Join us Saturday, April 29th from 10 to 2. Get more details at uoficreditunion.org.
U of I Community Credit Union for campus and community.
Thinking about becoming a homeowner this spring or summer, buying a new home, or upgrading because of your growing family? Save at your community credit union, the U of I Community Credit Union. Right now, open a mortgage with us and you'll receive a $250 closing credit with competitive rates, a quick and easy approval process, and fixed term options over 10 to 30 years. Trust the U of I Community Credit Union.
Closing cost credit offer applies towards approved and funded first mortgage loans only. Some exclusions and restrictions apply.
Spring has sprung, and for 25 years, Prairie View Landscaping has been the premier locally owned and operated lawn care provider in Central Illinois. Prairie View Landscaping is a full-service company, a one-stop shop for all your lawn care and outdoor needs. So email Lindy at Prairie View Landscaping today at mypvdiscount@gmail.com. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Prairie View Landscaping, celebrating 25 years in business. That's mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
This is Rob Meyer with Provident Financial Group. Are you getting the attention you deserve from your broker? When you partner with Provident, you get an advisor who stays focused on you and your family. We work for you. Contact us today to schedule a consultation. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network. Find us online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Partnerships built on trust.
Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
SJ Broadcasting is looking for organizations that regularly distribute information regarding employment opportunities to job applicants or have job applicants to refer. If your organization would like to receive notification of job vacancies at our stations, please notify Pia Atkins at 2702 Boulder in Urbana, Illinois, 61802, hr@sjbroadcasting.com, or by phone 217-367-1195. SJ Broadcasting is an equal opportunity employer and encourages minorities and females to apply. Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Warner on Mark Smith Day, as it has been dubbed by Illini fans, especially in Champaign-Urbana, as Mark Smith and his family visited Illinois. Was it an official visit? I guess that would have been made earlier this year.
It's an unofficial. So he has one official left to take, but according to Adam Jardy, Columbus Dispatch, he said, starting to have significant doubts, Mark Smith visits the Buckeyes tomorrow, was the plan Wednesday night, his mom told me then. This came down to Michigan State, Illinois. And I told you at the beginning of the show that if he did not commit on this visit, that Illinois or that Michigan State felt pretty confident. But Illinois felt optimistic going into today. Now, could he have committed and not be out there? Possibly. So, but it is Michigan State, Illinois, and we should learn pretty soon. I mean, in the next, I don't want to say Friday, Saturday, but in the next couple of days, we should know within, Monday, Tuesday. By then, I would imagine.
It would be a major gut punch if he commits to Michigan State. And it wouldn't have the same sort of vitriol or kind of anger tinge behind it that fans may have had with, it's not going to be a Cliff Alexander situation.
Right.
And I think part of that goes to the way the Smith family has handled this, and also the fact that any reasonable person could not fault a kid for going to Michigan State when Michigan State has not just the track record of success, but a track record of success with players like Mark Smith. So, and it's Tom Izzo.
Yeah, and he's going to be playing with a team that could be a legit Big Ten. They are the Big Ten favorite by far next year.
Yeah,
he's going to be competing every day with Miles Bridges if he goes there, right? He's going to get a lot better doing that every day. Tom Izzo has produced 2 of the top 20 draft picks at shooting guard, in the last 3-4 years. So it makes a lot of sense if you're bringing that down. I've said it all along, it'd be emotion. And that a lot of people make decisions based on emotion, based on gut, rather than your head, right? And then you justify it using your head. And Illinois has a lot to sell him. Michigan State has a lot to sell him that's tangible, that's there, that's evidence. Illinois is more, you can be this, you can be a legend here if you start this thing under Brad Underwood, and you can be Jawan Evans, right? You can be that kind of guy in our offense that springs us all forward. It's a lot harder, so a lot of times in history, for kids to be that rather than just go join the thing that's hot, that's been great. It's a lot easier to do that, and I understand why they do it, because put yourself in that position. If you got Company A and Company B, one's a startup that's exciting, but then the other one's Google.
Right.
You're more likely to go with, Google, man. That is established. I know what I'm getting myself into. I'm pretty sure I'll be successful there.
Yeah, greater security, and at the same, I understand why people would say, well, he doesn't get immediate playing time at Michigan State. He's still going to play this year.
Yeah.
He's not going to get 30 minutes.
I think he's going to be one of the key guys off their bench, or not, if not a starter, but just not the go-to guy. Nick Ward, Cassius is going to have the ball in his hand. Miles Bridges, obviously the best player in the Big Ten next year.
And how impatient would one be to get out on the court as much as absolutely possible?
Because Miles is gone next year.
Miles is gone next year, absolutely. And I don't know if a guy that you're going to recruit over Mark Smith. Certainly Izzo's got the recruiting thing going better than he ever has, but at that particular position, Mark Smith would be a factor, especially as a sophomore. But yeah, you can't fault him, because think about this. Let's say you maybe play 15 minutes a game, 12, 15 minutes a game as a freshman, and you're part of a Big Ten title winner, and you're part of a team that goes to the Final Four. That's the start of your career.
I think he'd be more than that, though. I think he'd be probably a 20-minute-a-game guy.
That could happen.
At Illinois, he'd be 30. And he'd have a lot more shots, but
part of the pitch was that's 300 more minutes across the. Oh wait, well Michigan State might actually play another 8 extra games this year.
That's true.
No, so it is tough, and I couldn't fault the kid for not wanting to shoulder the load for an entire basketball program and a fan base that is absolutely starving for success. Yeah. That's a lot to ask for, but you just hope in this case Mark Smith is that unique recruit.
Drive time coming up next. We're also going to talk at 5:25 with Illini strength and conditioning coach Joey Bose about his football program in the second year of the offseason conditioning. How is it different than last year, and who's he seen take that role? And outside of Rob, now that Rob Bain's gone, I want to ask him who's like the monster in the weight room now.
Can we ask Harry Black that same question?
Yeah, we can.
We'll ask him that. It is the Tay and J Show.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go!
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Hanson's Auto Repair in Urbana is a family-owned and operated full-service garage. For over 40 years, they've offered friendly atmosphere, quality work, and reasonable prices. Whether it's an oil change, brake service, or engine replacement, Hanson's Auto does it all. They're a locally owned dealer who cares, providing fast, comprehensive, and expert service. Family-owned, operated, and trusted since 1966. Hanson's Auto Repair, 1202 East Washington in Urbana. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. Visit them online at hansonsautorepair.com.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Duracon from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days, mortgage loans, and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call Matex Heating and Cooling to take advantage of Train's Weather Any Season sale. Choose between special financing for 6 years or special trade-in allowances on qualifying Train systems. Call 355-9700 or visit us online at mattexservice.com for more information. It's hard to stop a train. Any season, any weather. Matex Heating and Cooling, servicing East Central Illinois.
Subject to credit approval. Call for details.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. A man who opened fire on police in Paris was known to French law enforcement, and there may be a second suspect on the run. Fox Radio's Simon Owen is live in Paris.
Lisa, one police officer killed and 2 others seriously injured, according to officials here, in a shooting on the most famous street in Paris, the Champs-Élysées, lined with restaurants, theatres and luxury stores. The attacker was shot dead by police. It happened in the middle of the evening here. French President François Hollande saying the circumstances point to a terrorist act. The shooting coming 3 days before voters here go to the polls to begin electing a new president. Security was already among the big issues following a string of Islamist attacks. Lisa?
Thanks, Simon. Meantime, ISIS claiming responsibility. President Trump was asked about the attack after a meeting with Italy's prime minister at the White House.
Well, first of all, our condolences from our country to the people of France again.
He called it a terrible thing, urging continued vigilance. The president also reiterating he hasn't given up on replacing Obamacare, saying a new plan may be ready soon. Fox Radio's Jared Halpern is live in Washington.
The House returns from a 2-week recess next week, and by the end of that week, some White House officials suggest a vote could happen on a revised health care bill. The new measure, tweaking some essential health benefits and potential state opt-outs, has still not been put in legislative language. There's also no headcount of support. Even if new legislation is drafted by the time Congress returns, the priority for lawmakers is expected to be keeping government funded. A shutdown is triggered without a new spending bill a week from Friday. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. The hanging death of former NFL player Aaron Hernandez now formally ruled a suicide. Prosecutors in Massachusetts also announcing 3 handwritten notes were found near a Bible in his prison cell, but his attorney says an independent autopsy is in the works. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Ready for a new tractor? At LS Tractor, we'll be the first to tell you to shop and compare. That's right, shop our competition. We're that confident that the LS Tractor combination of more standard features, better performance, competitive price, and proven commitment to customer satisfaction deliver value that's unequaled by another tractor. Period. Want more tractor for your money? Look around. You'll see there's one that gives it to you. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
In your business, you trust people who time and time again get the job done. At Indeed.com, we deliver 5 times more hires than any other job site, according to independent research. That's why over 3 million businesses use Indeed when they're hiring. Because getting the job done matters. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Seattle just announcing that 2 suspects are in custody after police officers were shot while responding to a robbery at a convenience store. The officers were not seriously injured, but one of the suspects has significant injuries, and they're searching for a possible 3rd suspect. Now that a missing 15-year-old girl from Tennessee has been found safe in Northern California, the 50-year-old former teacher found with her is in a lot of trouble.
Earlier today, my office filed federal charges against the defendant in this case. He is charged with transportation of a minor across state lines for the purpose of having criminal sexual intercourse.
Acting U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Tennessee, Jack Smith, says Tad Cummins will also face state charges. The Amber Alert for Elizabeth Thomas had been issued nearly 6 weeks ago. An execution set for 2 hours from now in Arkansas has just cleared a major hurdle. The state Supreme Court ruling officials can use a lethal injection drug that the supplier says was misleadingly obtained. Arkansas originally planned 8 executions this month after previous court rulings allowing them to resume, but judges have stalled 3 of the lethal injections so far. Calling it an historic day for U.S. Steel, President Trump signs a memorandum launching a Commerce Department investigation of whether foreign-made steel poses any threat to national security.
The president said the action will not impact his dealings with China on North Korea's nuclear ambitions.
This has nothing to do with China. This has to do with worldwide, what's happening. The dumping problem is a worldwide problem.
China has increased its steel exports to the U.S. despite promises to reduce them. Chinese steel now commands 26% of the U.S. market. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
The president today also accusing Canada of hurting U.S. dairy farmers with a change in policy that lowered prices for Canadian milk. And Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long. Get those ACs tuned up. Just call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Gets cool tonight, a low of 45. Friday, cool, high 58. Mostly cloudy, a low of 42. Saturday, overcast, high 58, a low of 39. Does warm up going into Sunday and Monday. Right now, mostly cloudy, 70 degrees in Champaign-Urbana. It is drive time, presented by Honda BMW Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampaign.com. Mike Carpenter, here's our recap the first 2 hours of the Tay and J Show.
You always hit the post. Always hit the post on that.
Professional.
Mark Smith was in town. Is not anymore. The visit is done, correct?
Yes.
And he spoke with Derek Piper.
A brief message told Derek that he had a great time up on campus today on his Illini visit.
Okay. I mean, he could have said good time. He said great. He purposefully said great.
It's very rare. I think I've talked to one recruit, and he said it was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't for me.
And it was because he didn't get an offer. He was kind of upset about that, an official visit.
Was it a basketball or football?
It was a football player. And then after he told me all of this, and never said off the record, he said, "Can you not print that?" And I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
Like, if it were an adult, I would be like, "Listen," but it was a kid, so I didn't put that on. But I've only had that one time in all the recruits I've talked to during this time.
They're always going to say it went well. So now we wait. That's what we do. We wait.
Yep, and the one bit of news is Adam Jardy of the Columbus Dispatch says starting to have significant doubts that Mark Smith visits the Buckeyes tomorrow was the plan Wednesday night, his mom told me then. And I kind of said this yesterday. I'm almost kind of surprised if he did take the visit because Ohio State's really not in the running here. So what's the point? It's a waste of time, waste of money for Ohio State if he's really not considering them. This is a Michigan State-Illinois battle. And coming into the day, I think Illinois still had work to do. I don't think this was just we're wrapping it up. This is a nice visit and I'll commit or whatever. I think they had some selling to do and haven't heard anything, whether he committed. Maybe he could have and there was a silent thing, but we've broken this down in so many ways, Carp. But it's Michigan State, which has all this known things to sell. Tom Izzo, NBA draft picks at shooting guard, Final Four contender next year, most likely Big Ten favorite next year, against Illinois, which is more of an emotional thing, which is come be the guy, help resurrect this program, and be a legend at the University of Illinois. Both are interesting sells. They're just going after two different things.
It's a shame that there can't be a tiebreaker, and we just go back to the last head-to-head matchup and say, well, I mean, there you go. Illinois actually won that. Who would have figured? But the good thing for Illinois going in this, you look at Michigan State and all the talent that's there, and that would keep Mark off the court maybe as much as he'd want to be on the court this year, but that's a sacrifice I think many would be willing to take when you look at, hey, my freshman year I could be part of a team that wins a Big Ten title, goes to a Final Four. That's a heck of a start for any collegiate career. But at Illinois, when it comes to this rebuild, if we want to use that word, I don't think that really applies to this case, especially if you get Mark Smith. That there are pieces around him that immediately you would have a pretty fun offense to watch.
You have a great backcourt.
Yes.
I think you'd have a fun backcourt at least. I mean, Tijon Lucas, Trent Frazier, Jalen Coleman-Lands, Mark Smith. You throw Aaron Jordan in there. I don't know what to expect out of DeMonte Williams right away. But there's some firepower in that backcourt, even if it's young.
This is where the frustration from the Tillman thing may rear its head one last time. I don't know how much of a factor in Mark's decision that would have been, if Tillman was here or not. I get the feeling it wouldn't have hurt to have a center like that you knew you were coming in with.
Because you wouldn't be doing it by yourself.
Right.
Right? I think that's what they were selling this class on. That's what Gross's plan back in the spring of 2015 when he offered all of these kids, like 7 kids in the state, and all of them are, besides Negron, are going high major. That you do it all together, because selling Brunson on doing it by himself didn't work. Cliff Alexander selling him by himself to be kind of this, savior. That's very difficult for a 17, 18-year-old kid.
When really Quentin Snyder would have been the one in that class that would have.
Quentin would have mattered more, but he would have been a nice piece, right? That's a lot of pressure on a kid. So I do think having Tillman with DeMonte, with Frazier, and with, Mark Smith, I think that would have helped a lot more.
This is, you mentioned the startup company analogy. I mean, it's the startup in Illinois versus Google. I mean, you have a known commodity, and you know what you're going to get with Tom Izzo. And if you do what you need to do,
and at one point, Google was a startup company.
That's true,
right? But it takes some stones to be that person to pass up an opportunity at a program like that for a startup like Illinois and Brad Underwood are right now.
If he commits to Michigan State, I think the only frustration I would have would be that Illinois basketball has gotten to a point where you are a big-time underdog against Michigan State for players from your own state. Mm-hmm. Point being, let's go back to the Sean Pruitt recruitment. And at that point, that was a big recruiting win for Bruce Weber. You were coming, I guess Pruitt would have been on the Final Four team, but I think that was 2004 maybe when Sean Pruitt committed. But at the same time, at that point, you were basically on equal footing as a basketball program with Michigan State. Now, that's a very high level to reach.
They'd won a title, but you'd won a lot of Big Ten titles.
Yeah,
right?
and at the Big Ten at that point, you had 3-4 teams at the top. Michigan, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Ohio State, kind of. And now you are so irrelevant nationally that you are forced to play the emotion card. And this is no fault of Underwood. I mean, he inherited this program where all you can really do is say, yes, kid, shoulder the weight of this basketball program on your shoulders.
Too.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of what Weber did to it. And then Gross couldn't build out of it. Now it's Underwood's job to do that. I mean, he's obviously proven way more as a coach to do it. And that's what he can sell, too, is I've made 4 straight NCAA tournaments. Don't look at what Illinois has done the last 4 years. Look what I've done. Look what I've done with Jawan Evans. You can be that guy. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a sell there. Is as good as Michigan State. We'll find out pretty soon.
Why couldn't Michigan State have had a really good shooting guard already lined up? I mean, because they could
get any fifth-year transfer they want.
That's true. And if you think about this, I honestly feel as if Michigan State is the only school that if Illinois had put out a good pitch, that there was only one major threat. And they didn't really emerge until a month ago, but when they did, you immediately, at least I did, thought, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then even when Miles Bridges comes back and you think, well, the playing time's not going to be there. No, he's still going to play.
And that might actually encourage you to join more. Right. You're going to be with him every day. That's a likely top 10 pick, next year in Miles Bridges, and then the's not as much pressure on you right away, I think that might actually help.
You know, I was thinking about all these small factors of a recruiting visit like this, and the moment that a recruit would say, yep, this is it. The moment that they would say, I feel comfortable here. And I thought of all the small variables, like what if it had been just a rainy, nasty day? Like just how everything seemed to...
The Juwan Evans recruitment.
Right. Well,
Snowstorm.
Right, exactly. So that you start thinking of, you know, are there little things that in the course of a 4 or 5 hour visit could actually sway the family, or however long they were here?
Yeah, it's just about a relationship with the coaches, right? And their vision and them selling it and you feeling that love and you feeling that connection, because that's the one thing about Underwood. He didn't have, like, you know, Izzo came in late. Well, so did Underwood. Calipari came in late, so did Underwood.
Right.
So you had Jamal Walker there, but even that relationship is very new, right? I mean, he was new to everybody. So somebody mentioned, you haven't mentioned the fact that his parents go to all of his games, not the case for MSU. Yeah, distance. That's an emotional thing, though, right?
Yeah.
And his parents can still go to a lot of games there up at East Lansing. But yeah, there's probably a lot fewer. So that's what you're selling is close to home, be a legend, turn this program around. You could be the guy that's known for that, and you can have the ball in your hands a lot. And there's a sell there. There's obviously a compelling sell there if he's coming back to campus with this, and he's obviously in the top. Illinois is obviously in the top 2 here.
And I still think it could ultimately end up that way. I'm fairly optimistic for whatever reason on this recruitment. But I'll put it this way. If for whatever reason I was 18 years old now instead of 30, and I had crazy basketball skills, and I had to choose between Illinois and Michigan State, even with that emotional pull, my dad, lifelong Illinois fan, would say, you know what? Yes, I know you really like Illinois. You got that emotional pull to it, but consider this. I mean, the safe choice. And I don't even want to use the word safe because that sounds like you're falling back into it. You wouldn't be.
Yeah.
The safe, exceptional choice would be Michigan
State. And let's talk
about
if they get him, what a huge statement by Underwood. Like, what a huge statement to start this thing. And I got the best kid in the state, right? The Mr. Basketball. You know, Jeremiah Tillman might have a higher ceiling with it. I'd rather have Mark Smith.
Oh, no question.
It's a guards game. I think culturally he's going to be a great guy for you that can bring the competitiveness up a level. And he brings this winning culture, and he's going to have the ball in his hands. You know, big men just don't have that anymore. That's why every level of basketball has turned into a guards game. Yes, you need big guys, and you need big guys like Tillman. But this would just be monstrous for him to get some momentum going next season and out on the recruiting trail. That's Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampaign.com.
Coming up, Joey Bose, the Illini strength and conditioning coach, and we'll touch on Mark Smith a few more times, I'm sure. It is the Tay and J Show.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. From Charlotte, here's Dari Noka.
Fresh off the first 50-point triple-double in NBA playoff history, Russell Westbrook dropped this line: I don't give a blank about my stat line, we lost. His blank rhymed with puck, but this had nothing to do with hockey. He's mad. All he wants is to win. How is that not admirable? Yet people still want to blast him for taking 43 shots. And I know that's a lot, but who else is going to take them? That's the problem. By the way, did you miss the 13 assists? When Kevin Durant bailed for an easier shot at a ring, the best OKC did to fill any of that hole was Victor Oladipo. Not good enough. This offseason is critical for the Thunder. Paul George, maybe they convince Blake Griffin to go home to play ball. He is from OKC. Anything short of that, and Russ may roll in 2018. And Thunder fans like me who ripped KD for doing it shouldn't blame Russ one bit. In 60 seconds, the contract didn't make him do it.
Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. Now, you might think keeping gold safe in a bank is the right thing to do, but you're wrong. Instead, exchange your gold for KFC's delicious new Georgia Gold chicken. The tangy honey mustard barbecue taste of Georgia Gold is way more satisfying than real gold. And only Georgia Gold is available in extra crispy chicken, extra crispy tenders, and a new chicken little sandwich. Try it today at KFC. It's finger-licking gold.
At participating KFCs, for a limited time only. Prices may vary. Tax extra.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds, or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
Big time props to Mike Conley. Know what he did yesterday? He gave away 500 tickets to Grizzly fans so they can watch Game 3 tonight against the Spurs. Now, I'd like to think all those fans will use the tickets and not sell them for profit, but there are just some things we can't control. This isn't about them, though. It's about the gesture. Yeah, I know. Some of you are already saying it. The dude is signed to a $153 million contract, and 500 tickets is a drop in the bucket. But it's not about the money. It's about the deed. The fact that he even thought about this. When was the last time you heard any current player doing this? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm sure you'll tweet me some. ESPN Dari is my Twitter handle. We all know the Grizz are far outmatched in the series. Dari and Mel last week, I predicted they would get swept. No reason to change my opinion on that. But because of Conley's thoughtfulness, 500 Grizzly fans get to at least say that they went to a playoff game this year. Honestly, how many of us can say that? I think that's pretty cool. Appreciating Mike Conley with this ESPN Radio Sports Beat. I'm Dari Noka.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
You want what's best for your family, and what's better than a home equity loan or line of credit with no closing costs? Apply for a home equity loan or line at First Financial Bank before June 3rd, and you'll pay no closing costs. Remodel the house, get a pool for the kids, buy a new car, take a vacation. Whatever your family needs, your home's equity can make it happen, and First Financial makes it affordable. What could be better than that? Offer subject to credit approval. Property insurance required. Valid on applications before June 3rd. Other restrictions may apply. See first-online.com/equity for details. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. For a limited time, Lands is offering special financing for 6 years or up to $1,000 trade-in allowance. Your choice, with approved credit on any qualifying trade system. So call Lands at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR for details, or find us online at landsinc.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. I'm Troy Lands. You can count on my company because you can count on me.
See Lands or visit train.com for complete program eligibility dates, details, and restrictions.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It's time for the Warner Wrap. Yo!
I'm Jeremy Warner with your 520 Sports Update, brought to you by Prairie View Landscaping. Save up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care through the end of the month. Just email mypvdiscount@gmail.com. It was a big day for Illinois basketball. Hosted top uncommitted guard in the Midwest and reigning Illinois Mr. Basketball, Edwardsville guard Mark Smith, took a visit to Illinois, told the Illini Inquirer's Derek Piper the visit was great. Michigan State coach Tom Izzo visited him in-home on Tuesday. Duke assistant John Shire visited him on Wednesday. Smith has a scheduled official visit to Ohio State this weekend, but Adam Jardy of the Columbus Dispatch tweeted out that he's starting to doubt whether that visit happens. A decision expected within the next week for Smith. Illinois offered Francesco Badocchi, a small forward out of Bishop Miage out of Kansas. He's 6'7", very athletic, good shot blocker and dunker. 25th ranked Illini softball team won its 8th straight game with an 8-2 victory yesterday against Butler. Nicole Evans is crushing baseballs, 15th homer of the season, 50th of her career, leaving her just one short of tying the career Illini record set by Angelina Mexicano. MLB, Cardinals have placed Johnny Peralta on the DL with an upper respiratory illness. Left-handed pitcher Tyler Lyons activated. Carlos Martinez takes the hill tonight for the first of 4 in Milwaukee. You can hear it here, loud and clear, on ESPN Radio 93.5. Zach Davies on the hill for the Brewers. Both the Cubs and White Sox off today. winter season over tonight for the Blackhawks, who are down 3-0 to the Predators, entering tonight's Game 4 at Nashville. NBA tonight, Cavs look to go up 3-0 on the Pacers. Raptors and Bucks will split a 1-1 tie, and the Spurs look to take a 3-0 lead on the Grizzlies. Also in golf, Tiger Woods announced today he had a 4th back surgery in the last 4 years.
If you're within 10 years of retirement, thinking and planning for your golden years can seem daunting, even overwhelming. So if you're wondering where to begin, Busey Investment Services and Busey Wealth Management is here to help you focus with these 5 tips. Number 1, reassess your living expenses. Number 2, consider all income sources. Number 3, manage taxes. An advisor at Busey Wealth Management can help you develop a strategy. Number 4, pay off debt and power up savings. And number 5, account for healthcare. Save as much as you can now and let compound interest work in your favor. Even modest savings can add up over time. Set a savings goal you can work towards and plan where each dollar will go. As you prepare for retirement, these are just a few of the factors to consider. Make the process easier by breaking it into smaller categories and use the years ahead to plan accordingly. The financial advisors of Busey Investment Services and Busey Wealth Management will take the time to understand you and create a sound investment plan for your goals. Call 1-800-67-BUSEY or visit Busey.com today.
Well, it's not only a big time for Illinois basketball recruiting, it's a big time for Illinois football recruiting as they are on the recruiting trail right now, but the players are getting to work with this offseason, and they get to spend a lot of time in the offseason with their strength and conditioning coach, and that's Joey Bose, who's joining us now on the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line. Joey, thanks for joining us today, man.
Hey, guys. Glad to be on the show.
Well, my biggest question for you, now that Rob Bain is gone, who's the hoss in the weight room right now?
Ooh, we got a couple guys fighting for that honor this year. I would say Kenyon Jackson is a guy who's up there. Sean Anasanye is another guy. Nick Allegretti would be another guy I would mention that are fighting for that top spot right now in our weight room.
Bain's tough to replace, though, isn't he?
He is. I mean, any guy who puts up 225, what do you do, 41 times on pro day?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
You know, Coach, yesterday I was at Moe's Cantina getting lunch, and Mikey Dudek walked in. He is ripped.
That's my guy.
I mean, he's a wide receiver, and he's got guns like a middle linebacker.
Is that good for a receiver?
I think it's a big man's game now. The stronger they are, the better they are.
Yeah.
So do you take different approaches? I'm sure you do, but what kind of different approach would you take, I suppose, for a skill player versus a lineman? I know everyone probably has their own individual plan, but do you kind of have templates with which you can work off of depending on a player's position?
Absolutely. I mean, they're asked to do different things on the football field, so we're going to train them a little bit differently. You know, the meat and potatoes of the program are going to be very similar throughout position, but there's going to be some things that we're going to do with our skilled players that we're not going to do with our big guys and vice versa, especially when it comes to the speed and conditioning aspect of it. Just because of the demands of the game and what they're asked to do, we're going to do a lot more, a lot more yardage with some of the skill guys to get them in better shape. Maybe some of our big guys will ask them to push sleds. Some different things in the conditioning and speed work we'll do by position. And then in the weight room, there are some different things we'll ask those guys to do. And it's all individual based. So we're not going to train every offensive lineman exactly the same because not every guy is exactly the same. Some guys might need some mobility work. Some guy might need some hypertrophy work. Some guys might need more strength work, vice versa. So once we get those guys here and we get a real feel for what they do well and what they need to work on, we're going to focus on those things that they need to work on and start programming that in for each individual player.
Talking with Illini strength and conditioning coach Joey Bose here on the Tay and J Show. Jeremy Warner, Mike Carpenter. Coach, I met with you before last off season, and you had a lot of work to do, obviously, and you had to do it really quickly with this group. How is this off season different for you than when you came in here late last spring, just like the rest of the coaches?
Yeah, last off season from a strength and conditioning standpoint, we got here. I think my first day of work was a Monday, and we started spring ball on that Friday. Really hard during spring ball to do a lot of strength things in the weight room because you don't want to get them sore. We wanted to evaluate our players and what they could do on a football field. And so I don't want to say handcuffed, but what we were slow to the process because we didn't get that off season. Then in the summertime, your conditioning phase getting them ready to play football here in 8 weeks, kind of puts a demand on what you can do in the weight room a little bit as well. This off season has been great. We're finishing up right now a 5-week lifting phase. This is the end of week 4. We got one more week next week, and we've seen some great improvements so far.
This is a young team next year with a bunch of guys coming in that are going to play this summer. Do you try and get those guys up to speed? Like, can you, the freshmen coming in this summer, how do you kind of get those guys up to speed quickly?
You know what we do? We take 2 weeks and we keep the freshmen by themselves for 2 weeks. And during that time, myself, I have a tremendous strength and conditioning staff with me, and those guys do a great job. But we take 2 weeks and we assess, really same thing, strengths and weaknesses of those players, try to give them some general preparation to see kind of where they are conditioning-wise, where they are strength-wise, where they are mobility-wise. And then after that 2-week phase, now we start sprinkling those guys in with the rest of the team. Obviously, the goal is to get those guys up to speed as fast as possible. With this class coming in, I do believe we're going to have some guys that are going to be in that 2 deep right away.
Yeah.
So the emphasis to get those guys up to speed early on in that summer will be high on our list.
Coach Joey Bose joining us, the Illini strength and conditioning coach. And I wanted to ask you about the connection that dietary stuff would have with strength and conditioning. Are you working in concert with a nutritionist and trying to, figure out, okay, how much protein does this guy need if he's on this weight program? And, for conditioning, this guy needs this many carbs. How do you kind of balance that out?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't out-train a bad diet. We talk about that with our players constantly. When we got here last year, we thought we had a heavy football team. We wanted to lean a lot of our players up and get them so they could run a little bit better, move a little bit better on the field. We have a full-time nutritionist, Brittany. She does a really good job educating our players. Also, on my staff, Marco Candido kind of heads up our nutrition department in here with our guys. And really, it's educating our guys, telling them how to eat, when to eat, and what to eat. And everybody, same thing. Everybody's got different needs. So some guys might trying to gain weight. Some guys are trying to lose weight. Some guys are just trying to maintain and lean out. And so everyone's based on a different program. When they get here, we put them in a bod pod. So that'll tell us how much fat's on a kid, how much muscle mass he has on him. And then from there, we'll start devising a plan and what this guy needs from a food and supplement intake.
What's an experience like in a bod pod?
The egg. The egg's about I think about a 3-minute, it's painless. You're sitting there and wait for the results to spit out on the computer.
It's like you got to be in the field. I mean, that's a small, I've seen it before, Coach. It's a really small pod, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's, and we bod pod our players probably every 3 months.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we'll also take a front and back picture. So we will start to track our players' development from the time that they, as a freshman come here as an 18-year-old young man until the time they leave as 22-year-old, hopefully grown man. And we'll have, in that time period, we'll probably have about 12 bod pods on a player and 12 front and back pictures. So they can really start to see the development they've made. Obviously, you can give a guy numbers. Hey, your percentage went here, your lean mass went up, your fat mass went down. But when a guy actually sees, oh, wow, look at me. I look like this when I was 18, and when I was 21, gosh, I look like I'm a different guy.
Mm-hmm. He's Joey Bose.
So that visual stimulus is really good for our guys.
Yeah, he's the Illini football strength and conditioning coach. A big part of your job as well, and we've talked about this with Fletch at the basketball office, is you have to help players come off injuries. And in football, of course, you have a lot of injuries, had a lot of them last year. How are some of those guys doing it, especially, guys like Mike Dudek, Chase Crouch, Dre Brown?
Really good, really good. Those guys have progressed. Because we did spring ball so early, those guys are really taking advantage of this last 5 weeks lifting phase that we have. A lot of those guys are right on track where they should be. Jeremy Bush and our medical staff does a tremendous job in our rehab department, and those guys are right on stride where they should be.
Coach, I was going to ask you just kind of a general question about lifting and strength conditioning, all that sort of stuff, and how maybe the industry, I guess if we could call it that, has changed over the last 5-10 years. Is there something that used to be the thing to do that all of a sudden, just with new research and studies, you just aren't recommending players do anymore?
Things have changed a lot since I've played. The technology is a lot different than when I played. The nutrition, like we were talking about before, the supplements, that is totally different from what it was 10, 15 years ago. Back when I played, we ran a lot of distance. We don't run a lot of distance with our players. And so there are some things, I don't know if you would say old school, that teams used to do, that we don't do a lot of. But I would say a lot of the technology has changed from, the GPS monitors and those type things.
Does Joey Bose get in the weight room when these guys are working out and show them how it's done?
I've done a couple workouts. I actually ran some bleachers with Carol Phillips yesterday.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, you got to jump in there with those guys and show them you can still do it.
Yeah. How do you help with those guys that are preparing for the draft? I know a lot of these guys, go to these different workout centers and hire different people. But do you help those guys when they come back, or what's the interaction like?
Absolutely. Once they're our guys, they're welcome here all day, every day. So Carol and Smoot, they've been in the last 2 or 3 weeks working out, trying to get those guys ready. We tell them, you're working out for the combine. It's a certain type of training. It's like you're training for the Olympics, right? It's a one-day, one-event deal.
Yeah.
Once that's over, okay, now you got to go back into football mode, because those guys will get drafted a week from today, hopefully, a week from tomorrow, and then the following week they're going to be in a training camp, and they're going to be doing 25, 30 minutes of individual work, and that is a whole different type of training than if you're training for, the combine.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but you had to earn your way to a scholarship at Wisconsin, Coach. Who on this team reminds you of a young Joey Bose in Madison, Wisconsin?
Oh, geez. We got some really good walk-on guys that I really like. I love Jimmy Marquez.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I think has had a tremendous offseason. And I don't want to just point out one or two guys, but we have a handful of guys. I would say Jimmy Marquez is one of those guys that's really making an impression as a walk-on right now.
People always say, like, squat. It's the most important. If there was only one workout somebody could do in the weight room, is that still it, Coach?
That's mine. Yeah, that's the best bang for the buck right there. I would, if I only had 20 minutes with the team, that's what I'm doing.
Why is that?
Squatting the team.
Yeah, why is that?
Multi-joint. It's a full body movement. People just think, hey, I'm squatting, I'm working my legs. Hey, if you're under a good load under the bar, I mean, your abs are working, your upper back's working, your low back's working. I think that is the best bang for the buck in the weight room.
Well, I was covered Jerry Kill, and he always said the strength and conditioning coach was his most important coach, because you get to spend more time with these guys than anybody, don't you? So are you like Lovie Smith's go-to guy to learn more about these guys?
I talk to Coach. Obviously, I talk to Coach every day. And I would say that myself and the staff have the best beat on our team, from individual players and how they're doing during the week. We are going to see things before anybody else, just because we're around them so much. Personalities and what makes guys tick, that is something we see on a daily basis. I get to see these guys at 6 a.m. in the morning all the time. I get to see these guys at 3 in the afternoon all the time. So we are around them 5 days a week, especially during the off-season phase and in the summer before training camp starts.
Great stuff. Illini strength and conditioning coach Joey Bose. Coach, we appreciate your time, and good luck with the rest of the offseason. We'll see you. Training camp's not that far off.
All right, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Coach Joey Bose, the Illini strength and conditioning coach. I want to bring on Harry Black real quick, because he obviously has gone through these kind of strength and conditioning programs. What did you learn of Joey Bose's program just the year you were in it? Not even a year fully, Harry.
Can you say that again? I was getting a...
Yeah, I mean, you spent a year with Joey, not even a full year, in his strength and conditioning program. I mean, how was it different than Aaron Hillman's, and what was that experience like?
It was different, not in a bad or a good way. They both had great programs. Coach Hillman, really, he got after you individually. and it worked for us. But with Coach Bose, it was really kind of a breath of fresh air in a way, because it was more, I guess you could say, interactive.
Okay.
Like the coaches, it was kind of different approaches to exercises, which, with the new coaching staff last year, kind of seemed like a new kind of era.
When you guys would have a workout at what, 6 a.m.?
Yeah.
And 3 p.m.? Or is it just one of those?
There's different lift times.
Okay.
So you could have a 6 a.m. There's days where you have a 6 or a 7 a.m. run, and then you come back around noon for a lift. So you could.
Was this the worst thing in the world as you're going through it, or did you guys actually enjoy this? Like, did you get up for it some days, and some days you're just like, nah?
I mean, do you ever get up for anything at 5:30 in the morning and look at it with excitement? No, but you're there. Say it's the summer and you have a run. Yeah, you have to do it 7 in the morning, and you get up at 6:30 to get in there. No one wants to be there, but you get it done. And you're with a bunch of your friends and your brothers, and you just feel great after it's done.
Right.
And it's kind of funny going in, or when you're doing it, just looking around, seeing everyone just dying, but you're thinking, hey, they're all feeling what I'm feeling.
Right.
So there's kind of a sense that you don't want to be that guy that is holding everyone back. So it's pack mentality, I guess you could say.
Well, and it's like when you come in here and shoot Nerf hoop.
Yeah, you just want to get better.
Yeah, you just get better every day, right?
Yeah.
And,
one day at a time. One day at a time. Someday, Harry, you will appreciate waking up at 6:30 for a 7 a.m. run. It took me 30 years, but I'm finally getting there. I'm excited to wake up early tomorrow and go on a run.
There's a difference between going to run at your own pace and going to run 100-yard sprints with 5-second breaks in between.
Yeah, what did linemen run compared to, like, receivers and stuff?
It actually wasn't as crazy a difference as you would think. I'm saying that. And
I mean, it's mostly sprints, right?
Yeah.
It's not like...
a very common thing that we had across both Coach Hillman and Coach Bose's regimes was we would do ladders, which is sprinting across the field once, then twice, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he broke us up into 3 groups: linemen, skill, and big skill. Skills would be, your receivers and your DBs. Big skills, I think, was tight ends and running backs.
Yeah.
And it would go, for one, it would go usually 8, 9, 10 seconds. And then for 2, whatever twice that is for each one. So for each sprint, the position group between, so like the slowest, the linemen, and the fastest, seconds, the skill players, there was a 2-second difference per sprint, which actually, now that I say that out loud, probably is what you would expect when you're watching.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's they put in a lot of work that people won't see.
Do you guys do suicides?
Well,
it's basketball.
I know. But do you go like the 10 and then the 15?
Well, that's kind of like the ladders.
Suicides were actually, when we did those, no one really cared. That was relatively easy compared to other things we had to do.
It's nuts. I mean, the work these guys put in, like, people don't see it every day.
The peak of my playing career was 6th grade Park District basketball, and I hated suicides in practice.
It's the worst. Conditioning was the worst.
But that was about the highest I ever achieved with athletics. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks for the input there, Harry. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255 if you'd like to weigh in.
Favorite lift? What's your favorite lift?
Oh, probably bench. I mean,
should we talk different ways? Should we talk a little bit gruffer?
Yeah, I've always been a shoulder guy. I like doing I think people don't lift shoulders enough.
Like the deltoid fly or the shoulder press?
People do too many curls. Mm-hmm. Way too many curls. Because you know what's going to show off arms more is deltoids.
Yeah.
You get some big deltoids, it's going to look like your biceps are a little bit bigger. But if you only work arms, dude, do some chest and do some back, and you're fine.
There was a kid in middle school, and he was like, check this out. And he had just only done curls. And he had these skinny arms, and when he flexed, it was like just a little tiny tennis ball that would pop up. I'm like, that looks terrible.
No, you got to build up everything around it, right? And if you don't do any legs, like I'm 30 years old now. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be going in putting 300 pounds on a squat rack. But you got to do some legs, otherwise it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, it's true.
But no, probably now pull-ups. You do some pull-ups and push-ups. That's all you need.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you're not trained to be a football player, Just do some pull-ups and push-ups. That works everything you need.
You know what's funny about
besides squat,
talking about lifting and stuff is that it reminds you of that Anchorman scene when he's like 1001, 1002, and like there's no way to talk about it without being like, whoa, you know,
feeling like an absolute tool.
Right, exactly. So
you're trying to be healthy, right?
No, yeah. So like, I either in a given day will run or I'll go to the gym, and when I go to the gym, my girlfriend will be like, so what'd you do at the gym today? And I get all bashful, like I'm like, you know, whatever, just this and that. This and that, because I didn't want to be like, well, I started out with the shoulder press and then I moved my way to the... No. So now I actually do give the scientific, well, I did some deltoid flies and I did all that
there you
kind
go.
of stuff. But as I say it...
Some latissimus
dorsi. Or is it dorsey? I'm not really sure. But we did figure out earlier pronunciation foible that we had. It is Francesco Badacci. Badacchi. Badocchi.
He received an offer and one person texted in. Did they offer him too late? This is, I don't like the start recruiting wise for Underwood.
No, I think it's okay.
They offered him like a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
They just wanted it quiet so that other schools wouldn't be like, oh, who's this kid? Let's get in on him. But it's really an Illinois-Virginia battle right now.
The good news is if he commits, we already know what the first question on the Tay and J Show will be. How do you pronounce your name?
That's right.
And is it offensive if we do the Italian guy?
Badacci.
Like, you know, it's a Mario. If we do that, is it offensive? Let us know. We'll stop.
We should. Is there anybody Italian out there? Text in. Is that offensive?
Yes. If you're an Italian of Italian descent, I mean, if you think about it, there were articles that were written.
Like, I don't mind if somebody says Jeremy Werner.
Yeah.
Like, the German pronunciation is Werner.
Jeremy Werner. Ickhausen. Frankenfurter.
Schweinsteiger.
Yeah, exactly. So I think
just how people talk.
Yeah, if it's a European country, I think it's safe.
Yeah, but if we went like Asian, I think that's more offensive.
It would be.
Is that the line?
I think.
I don't know. I don't know.
If it were up to me, we could make fun of everybody.
Yeah,
that's why I love South Park.
PC.
They make fun of everybody.
PC. If you want to weigh in 359-2255, that's 217-359-2255.
It is the Tay and J Show.
DP Dough is the original Calzone company, and they cater all types and sizes of events, from office orders to private parties to entire visiting football teams. Everyone will be sure to enjoy something different than the same old sandwiches or pizza. DP Dough also delivers to nearly all of Champaign-Urbana and Savoy until late at night. So give them a call or order online when you're hungry and no one else is delivering. With over 1 million calzones served since opening in 2006, DP Dough is sure to satisfy and fill you up. DP Dough, the original Calzone Company.
Renew, energize, and donate. Join Keller Williams Realty of Champaign, the real estate center of Illinois, for their annual Red Day, Thursday, May 11th, the company's annual day of service dedicated to renewing, energizing, and donating to their local communities. As part of the Red Day effort, Keller Williams Associates will spend the day with See You at Home, building new sheds, painting, light remodeling, and landscaping at multiple locations offered by See You at Home. For more information about Red Day, visit kwchampagneredday.com. That's kwchampagneredday.com. Go to kwchampagneredday.com.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals. A nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days. Mortgage loans and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
As spring brings new color to the world, why not bring new color to your walls? Ask Sherwin-Williams during the 4-day super sale and save 40% off paints and stains April 21st through the 24th. With such great deals, you can give your whole home a color makeover. Your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams paint store is right around the corner. Find it at sherwinwilliams.com/save. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Life is full of twists and turns. You can't see the unknown, but you can certainly prepare for it. Pekin Life Insurance Company offers a variety of term and whole life insurance policies that are designed to meet the needs of individuals and their families. Options include transitional life, universal life, preferred whole life, family term life, and many others. Visit PekinInsurance.com or ask your local Pekin Insurance agent about an affordable, beyond the expected life insurance policy that's right for you.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know what's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Join us, the Coopers, the 2017 March of Dimes Ambassador family, at the annual March for Babies on Saturday, April 29th, 2017 at 9 a.m. We will take part in the walk that helps moms have healthy pregnancies and healthy babies. They'll be the easiest steps you and your family will ever take. Join the community and start building your team today at marchforbabies.org.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante with Jeremy Warner. I'm playing the 5 at 5 music if Jeremy would win, because there will yet again not be a 5 at 5 tomorrow. I'm missing another
all your
Friday.
fault.
I'm sorry.
You and your social life.
I know. We're opening for Boyd Tinsley of the Dave Matthews Band tomorrow.
Are you really?
I efforted
Where
him at the Accord. So, which is the old High Dive downtown.
Yeah.
It's actually the second to last weekend the Accord's going to be open as is. They got new ownership.
Is this like a dream thing for you?
It happened out of nowhere.
Because you've seen, how many Dave Matthews Band shows?
60.
You're up to 60.
Up to 60. Yeah.
That's impressive.
None this summer. Dave and Tim once, but the band is not going to be out. That's why Boyd's out and about with his side projects. So, no, it was announced like 3 months ago, and then I sent an email to the promoter that also does stuff at Cowboy Monkey and said, do you guys have an opener?
Yeah.
He's like, no, you guys want it? It's like, yeah, of course.
That's awesome, man.
So, yeah, we'll get in there, and I don't think we'll have the same green room access as Boyd.
Now, does Boyd play the fiddle?
He violin, you can call fiddle.
Yeah.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, like what's the difference between a fiddle and a violin?
Fiddle's just a euphemism
it's
or
just
a different term for it.
If you're a country guy,
yeah.
it's a fiddle.
Yeah. I think people like saying fiddle if it's in a country or rock.
I like the sound. I like to say fiddle.
Fiddle.
More
yep.
than violin.
Well, I mean, if the devil went down to Georgia, that says fiddle in it.
Yes.
He had a fiddle, not a violin.
I'll go with fiddle.
So it'll be cool, though, because, we do our thing, and we got a nice little 40-minute set planned, and then they come out at 10 o'clock, full set, and he doesn't play every song with them. He helped form them. It's a trio, but he'll play about 6 songs with them, and it's going to be really cool in a small setting like that to see Boyd fiddle.
That's cool.
Yeah, because he's just got such an iconic look when he's on stage.
Yeah.
So, and then he's very friendly. So if you're a Dave Matthews Band fan, go there tomorrow. In all likelihood, you'll be able to meet Boyd, and he hangs out with everybody. So
I'll be gone next week on vacation. I'll be in Florida, but you and Lon will be here when the NBA or the NFL draft is going on. And tomorrow, Lon and I will go over more about the Illini prospects in the draft. But the Bears have the number 3 pick, and we haven't talked about it a lot here because the Illini stuff that's been going on. This is a huge draft for Ryan Pace, because not just the 3rd pick. Obviously, you got to hit on that one. They need a quarterback, obviously, but they got number 36 pick as well. That needs to be a starter. Their 3rd rounder probably needs to be a starter. What do you want with that 3rd pick, Cart?
Well, it's not going to be a quarterback in all likelihood.
You think so?
Well, it could be, I guess, right? I mean, Mike Lennon, how long are you necessarily tied down to Mike
Lennon? 1 year.
Okay.
1 year, that's guaranteed.
So
this is just a stopgap to give John Fox a chance.
Which is true. What I don't like about that is I'd rather them just suck again this year, because in all likelihood they're going to be just good enough to not get a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I don't think Mike Lennon's going to stop you from that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you may be right.
I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
But and there's a little bit of unknown there, but how much better than Brian Hoyer will he really be?
Yeah, so when it comes to what the Bears could do for that 3rd pick, what they could do with it.
If they took a quarterback, Is there one you'd rather have? Like, I know we're not scouts.
Call me crazy. First off, I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns go Trubisky.
And pass up like a generational pass rusher and Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I could see them totally doing that. There's no way Myles Garrett's going to be at number 3, right? No way.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever's at number 2, whether it's the Niners or someone trading up there, would get
if
him.
Mitch Trubisky is available, but there's been no chatter about the Bears and Mitch Trubisky. There's been no chatter about Deshaun Watson, so it almost makes you wonder how much in contact with these guys are they?
They've been really quiet. I mean, they've scouted a lot of quarterbacks, and they sent basically most of their top decision makers to go see Deshaun Watson's pro day. I still wouldn't be upset if he was the number 3 pick. I don't know.
I wouldn't either.
I don't know if he's going to be an elite quarterback. I think he's going to be a starter, and I think he could be a really good starter. So is that worth the number 3 pick? Yeah. And that's worth more than a safety, and I like both those guys, Malik Hooker and Jamal Adams. Yeah, that's worth more than a cornerback. I like Marshawn Lattimore, but he's got some injury issues. Solomon Thomas, Jonathan Allen, I'd be okay with one of those guys, another impact defensive lineman. But if you think there's a starting quality quarterback there that can change the franchise, I'd take him.
Because I would rather them do that.
Because you're not going to be able to trade down most likely.
I'd rather them do that than, say, a 4th round, we'll get this guy and we'll groom him. Well, come on.
How often does that work?
No more David Fales experiments.
I mean, out of the playoff court, I know there's a Dak Prescott and Tom Brady.
Those are the exceptions.
Most of the best quarterbacks in the league taken in the first round, if not in the top 5 or 10.
Deshaun Watson would be, if they go with a quarterback, he'd be the guy I'd want.
I'd feel really comfortable there. I love the intangibles. I think the tools are there. Trubisky's really intriguing. I don't think Kaiser's tools are really good, but he just seems really raw.
Yeah.
Mahomes is the same way. Like I could trade back into the first round and get one of those guys maybe, but if it's the number 3, I think it'd be Trubisky or Watson.
So what do you think they're going to do?
I think they'll go quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because how often do you have a chance to get one? And I don't think they plan on going 4-12 next year.
No.
If you know you're doing that, there's some good ones next year. Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, UCLA, and USC.
But yeah, it's really...
You can't count on that, right?
No, because in the NFL, I mean, how far were the Bears away from winning 7 games last year? They were in a lot of close games.
Yeah.
What was it, 3-13?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. God, that just sucked.
That did.
And
if you don't have the quarterback, what's the point? Right. Now, if they don't think any of these guys are good, don't take one. Right? If they don't think any of these guys are future NFL starters or top 15 kind of talents at quarterback, don't take them. Take your developmental prospect and punt towards next year and try to get a guy then. But or try to find a guy another way, like they did with Mike Glennon. But if you think one of these guys can be a top 15, top 12, top 10 quarterback, I think you got to take him.
I'm anxious to see too. I mean, Ryan Pace has done pretty well with drafting so far. He's gotten some good pieces through it. And even in free agency, for whatever reason, it hasn't coalesced, but I think maybe we were underestimating just how big of a hole you were in to begin with. But I wonder with the NFC North if there's not a really good opportunity coming up in the next 3-4 years.
I mean, no matter what, the Packers are going to win 10 games.
As long as Aaron Rodgers is there. No, you're right.
They're going to win 10 games.
As long as Aaron Rodgers is there, and there's no indication that he wouldn't be there in the next 3-4 years.
The Lions are the Lions. They'll be an 8 to 9 win team, most likely.
Maybe. I mean, they can still lie.
The Vikings got a good defense, but Sam Bradford and Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, they're not going to lead you to the promised land.
No.
Right? And then you lose Adrian Peterson, of course.
That's why you just wonder. I understand why there would be reluctance for a Deshaun Watson at that high of a pick. But ultimately, I think if you're the GM, you don't ask yourself so much, is he a value pick at number 3? As much as you had pointed out, how many times you get an opportunity to draft a first-round caliber NFL starting quarterback?
Now, if you think you can trade down and still get those guys, I'd love that. I just don't know if anybody's going to be pounding down the door to get the number 3 pick.
Yeah.
Right? Leonard Fournette, a guy people are going to trade up for. I doubt it with a running back.
No, I mean, he'll be a first-rounder
easily.
I'd
love to trade down, get a Watson or Trubisky at 8, 9, 10, whatever, and pick up another second-rounder. I just don't think it's going to be a possibility for them.
That was our Mark Smith Show until hopefully there's another Mark Smith Show where we can bring you some good news.
Yeah, thanks to our guest, Scott Burgess, PrepHoops.com, and Illini strength and conditioning coach, Joey Bose. Lon will be in tomorrow. Thanks to our interns today, Harry Black, Daniel King, and Jack Long.
See you tomorrow. It is the Tay and J Show. It's warming up around Champaign, and that means it's time to get outside and ride in a Polaris off-road vehicle. And the best time to buy is during the Polaris Spring Sales event. You'll find great financing plus rebates up to $2,000. You'll even get a free 2-year extended warranty on any full-size Ranger or any Sportsman 450 or 570 ATV. See your Polaris dealer now. Offers valid through April and vary by model. No charge for promotional 2-year extended warranty. See dealer for details. Off-road vehicles can be hazardous to operate. Always wear a helmet and take a safety training course.
Spring is finally here, which means you're probably planning picnics at the park and road trips you've been waiting for all winter. It also means the Honda Dream Garage sales event is back. It's the best time of year to find the perfect kind of Honda for everything you have planned this spring. Whether that's the let's see where this road takes us kind of Honda.
Let's go!
Or the trip to take the kids apple picking kind of Honda.
Here we go!
Yes, I love apples. Apples rock.
Or, well, the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on awesome Hondas, like the 2017 Accord. That's a Kelley Blue Book Best Buy with available 7-inch display audio kind of Honda.
Visit your local Central Illinois Honda dealers today.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co., Inc.
Winning can be fun, and we love giving away free stuff, but we want to make sure it's fair for everyone. So here are the rules when competing to win on ESPN 93.5. No purchase necessary. Prize must be collected within 30 days during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 2702 Boulder in Urbana. ESPN Radio assumes no liability due to circumstances beyond our control, and any prize may be substituted with a prize of equal or greater value. Winners are liable for any taxes, tips, or other miscellaneous charges associated with the prize. All contestants must have a valid ID and social security number. Our judges' decisions are final and reserve the right to end any contest at any time for any reason without notice. In the event that a contestant is found to be ineligible for a prize, said prize will not be awarded. And if you win, we reserve the right to use your likeness or voice on the radio or online, and any winners must wait 30 days to win again. Get a complete list of rules and more information on any contest on ESPN Radio at ESPNCU.com. Those are the rules, and good luck from ESPN 93.5. Renew, energize, and donate. Join Keller Williams Realty of Champaign, the real estate center of Illinois, for their annual Red Day, Thursday, May 11th, the company's annual day of service dedicated to renewing, energizing, and donating to their local communities. As part of the Red Day effort, Keller Williams associates will spend the day with See You at Home, building new sheds, painting, light remodeling, and landscaping at multiple locations offered by See You at Home. For more information about Red Day, visit kwchampaignredday.com. That's kwchampaignredday.com. Go to kwchampaignredday.com.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.